Living on the road, my friend, was gonna keep you free and clean.
Now you wear your skin like iron and your breast hard as kerosene. You weren't your mama's only boy, but her favorite one it seems. She began to cry when you said goodbye, sink into her dreams. Pancho was a bandit boy, his horse was fast as polished steel. Wore his pants outside his pants for all the honest world to feel. Pancho needs his medicine
on the deserts down in Mexico, and nobody heard his dying words.
That's the way it goes.
And
All the federales say we could
could
have
have
had
had him any day. Only let him hang around.
out of kindness, I suppose.
Well,
Lefty can't sing the blues all night long like he used to. The dust that Pancho bit down south ended up in Lefty's mouth.
the day that
Hey, poor Pancho low, Lefty split for Ohio, where he got the bread to go. Oh, ain't nobody knows. All the federales say they could have had him any day.
Only let him
All right. Let's get to it. We gotta make sure that it's demonetized from the fucking jump, y'all. Appreciate y'all being here on the Holy of Holies, the Christmas Eves. Can't wait. Aquí andamos. If you know, you know. I know this fucking chain since I was a kid. Going to champurrado, a little too sweet, but it does the job. The cold brew with oat milk. Con toda la pinche leche en este, ya que. But you know, it's raining. It's California cold. So you need the champurrado. You need to have it ready. You need to have it with you. I appreciate y'all being here today. I know it's always a little hectic with the holiday season. It's always hectic and chaotic towards the end of the year. So I was like, nah, I got to make sure we're out here. I got to make sure that we're out here. Still iffy if we're going to do a stream tomorrow. If it would even be worth it. Just because, you know, whether you celebrate or not, if you have the day off and you can, you know, be with your family, your loved ones, your friends. And also, again, always trying to do my best to break away from that parasocial benefit, right? Because if I really double down and try to make this a space where the parasocial is fed and bred, that would be beneficial to me, but I don't want to recreate that. Again, appreciate everyone joining the Patreon and getting Discord access and all that and all the support. I appreciate that. There's a reason why I titled every tier kind of a, you know, in a joking manner, because I saw other people's. You know, I saw the Stealther by Omission. No Samson's is like best friend, bestie, best for life, or best friend for life, and whatever. I'm just like, ugh, that's weird. So I'm just saying this because it just crossed my mind right now. Whether or not you celebrate Christmas, it's still kind of a connotation of like, oh, this day is somewhat special or unique, or you should be around, yada, yada, yada. And if I'm here, am I feeding to that? Just a thought I'm thinking about. I got a lot of work to do anyways. Starting the new year, there's gonna be a lot of changes with the setup. Like I'm rocking this because I it's hard to access my clothes right now. Stuff like that is just weird. So trying my best to stay focused. And maybe be for the best. I would definitely stream on Friday though. That would be a lot of fun. I know Dr. Ball streaming right now, which I would love to be watching that. I'm not gonna lie, especially with this weather. Do some like cleaning, like a lot of cleaning. I need to do. I need to do some painting. You do some moving. I need to do some reorganizing, all that stuff. But looking for lights, Feliz Navidad. That's what that song, En mi burro sabanero, pum, pum. It's a banger, bro. I love that song. Yeah, we'll do something for is it Dia de Reyes? You got to put your shoes out. Make sure to put your shoes out. Get a little treat. That. Thank you for reminding me that that'd be fun. Yeah, well, it's tonight, right? I don't stay up late no more. I try not to, but yeah, staying up, knocking out as a kid, waking back up like around 9 p.m. and being excited and waiting and stuff. Beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. Everything else aside, the joy that children experience during this time, if they can, if they're able to, it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. All right, let's get to it. Again, I appreciate y'all for being here. Last week I only streamed again because the chaos going on right now. I think we did a 6-hour stream. Honestly, after everything kind of settles down, I think 4 to 5 hours, 3 days, nice 15. A week would be dope. But that 6-hour stream was a lot of fun. I'm not gonna lie, it was a lot of fun. And because it was so much fun, I made sure that we are gonna have. Let me make sure I have it here. Oh, I didn't queue it up. It should have been this one, but I guess it's not. That's how I stole the thumbnail. Let me get this one right here. Prince Capone on Black Agenda Report. So we're going to read this today as well. Southern Spear, the American Pole, and the recolonization of the hemisphere. So I'm super, super excited to read this. Prince Capone. Yeah, I think definitely I need to work on setting up more interviews, more conversations upcoming year. Again, broke over here has got to find ways to make sure I could do it on the cheap, if not free. So I just need to mess around with some, add-ons and some programs on OBS to set that up, and then we'll get rolling with more interviews. I mean, at that point, I would like to do like next year at least one interview a month. I'm not trying to be an interview channel, but I think once a month there's like 3 or 4 people that I already really, really want to speak to, right? So Prince Capone for sure. Why is the Dome TV is somebody who's I wanted to just learn more about. Alex Avila, have like cool conversations. Pancho, shout out to Pancho. I know Dr. Ball mentioned that he would like to host that or moderate that. That'd be cool. We'll have a little debate. No, we won't have a debate. I don't do debates. I have conversations. I was watching a 3-hour debate with Pisco and the alleged pedo Destiny, solely for Pisco because I think 1, he's Peruvian, so I want to keep a tab on that. 2, he's a lawyer, and 3, he's so insufferable that it's kind of like a mental challenge for me to get through. I like torturing myself like that. I don't know why. Just because everything he was saying was the way that he argues is so unique, and it's like, man, not unique. It's so pedantic that I'm like, I wonder how I would respond to this stuff if I put myself in that situation. And the funny thing is that creep Destiny tries to get away with that when he's cornered as well. So they all adopt that similar style at one point or another. That's why I can't stand these people. It's all BS. Watch the Nazism or Zionism video with Overzealous and Chris Kunzler. Every time they got the answer wrong. It's because they don't understand the settler colonial nature. That's hilarious. That's hilarious. I gotta watch it though. I gotta watch it. That's so fucking funny. It's a game. Everything's a fucking game. It's so much fucking fun. It's cool. Making money off of genocide. Making money off of genocide. These fucking white allies have no shame. No fucking shame. But let's start with this little piece here. It's from a while back. It's from a while back, but I think it as you know, the new year approaches and Mamdani's inauguration. There we go. Inauguration is approaching. Like I said, and I said this, if you haven't check out I'm featured in FD's new video on Mamdani. Is she playing the banjo? Hold on. That's funny. Okay. Yeah. Oh, he changed the title? Why would he change the title? I like the other title so much better. The original title was the complex problems of the complex problem of Zohran Mamdani. And I was like, bro, is that a double entendre? Meaning the complex, like complicated problems of Mamdani. This isn't deep or anything. And the actual complex, like the industrial, military complex or whatever. So, I mean, it's smart, tablecloth, it's smart. And as much as I resist it, on this end of things, you do learn a lot, and understanding that, like, at the end of the day, do you want to be heard? Do you want to be seen? And we all do to some extent, but especially if you are actually engaging with political commentary on my end, maybe some creation. I've done some videos, but not, enough to feel comfortable with that yet. But however, you do got to game the system. There's a reason why he has 1.1 million subscribers. He gets it. He understands it. And although that is a million subscribers, not necessarily my goal. Fuck it, I'll share it with you. The goal is by the end of next year is 10K subscribers. We're at 6,000. I appreciate y'all. 10K and just moving upward from there. But I like to maintain like some type of realistic goals for myself. I keep putting on my calendar that this is the year I'm going to get a 6-pack, and that's not a realistic goal. The realistic goal would be like, hey, let me go train 4 times a week. Fuck whatever happens. Let me go train 4 times a week, because I know my mental state will be so much better. I know that when I spar, I'm not going to be completely dying. So let me focus on going 4 times a week. That is a realistic goal. I think it's a realistic goal to say, hey, I have 6,000 subscribers. Let's aim for 10, right? To keep myself motivated, not because I think it's going to change really anything, right? But to keep myself from not being bored. I get bored very easily with everything, even with people. Unfortunately, I think it's one of my detriments is that I get bored with people. I get bored of having the same conversations. Excuse me. I get bored of having the same conversations. I get bored of I have like all these fucking sugary. Well, no, this isn't sugary, but I have all these drinks but water near me. So I need to keep like putting milestones and challenges for myself and set goals in order to keep moving forward. Especially because
I'm afraid of
thank you
like
so much for
talking
subscribing.
to people who are outside of my race.
Especially because sometimes, and I've noticed we really haven't watched too many videos recently. And I'm like, oh, it would be so much easier and efficient to just like be able to knock out a 6-hour stream if I'm watching at least one 45 to 35-minute video from someone else or a news source or whatever. And I start looking around especially Twitch, and I'm like, oh, this is how these people stream for 8 hours. They're just reacting to videos. They're not reading shit, and that's a form of reacting. They're not engaged, and I'm not saying we're reading fucking theory out here. It's just interesting to me. But yeah, check this out. I'll throw it in the chat if you haven't already. I don't know if Twitch allows YouTube links, but we'll see. Yeah, it does. Awesome. And I think FD did a great job at capturing my overall sentiment of Mamdani. So I appreciate that, and I thank him for the opportunity. I mean, it's a big, it's a huge, again, 1 million subscribers. It's a big, large platform of his. You know, I hope I represented myself well, but again, more than anything, just appreciative and grateful and thankful. It's a trip, man. It's a trip. I used to watch FD stuff, and then when we talked about it, I stopped. I wish I could enjoy not just his content, but that type of content overall. Homeboy did the problem with, which made me laugh, with like white Latinos or some shit like that. What's his name? The white Latino problem. Elliot. Thank you so much for the super chat.
You got a problem?
No. Access Audio says, speaking of sparring, did you see the Jake Paul fight? I'm assuming no, I did not. I caught the clip afterwards, but funny enough, one of my goals for 2026 is not to watch any UFC live events. I already sail the high seas anyways to watch them. So, you always have an issue with the lag and finding streams and stuff. So I was like, look, I'm not trying to be a hardcore fan like I was since I was in fucking like middle school. No, middle school. Yeah, middle school, because I was still doing Taekwondo. Huh. I was real young when I got into mixed martial arts as a fan. It took me a few years afterwards to get into like actually training in it. And it's fun, don't get me wrong. I just rather focus on one craft at a time, to be honest with you. It's also not as expensive. Anywho. So my goal is not to watch them live for 2026. We'll see how that goes, because there is a different adrenaline. But watching not paying for it and watching it uninterrupted without any buffering or anything like that, and being able to skip and fast forward, all the in between the fights, that'd be a lot of fun as well. That's always more convenient and a better use of your time. So we'll see. But thank you so much for the super chat. The white Latino problem from Elliot. I tried. I really did try. You can see that I tried. I don't care what a white guy thinks about this. I really don't. I want to like shit like this. I want to indulge in it. I want to waste my time with this. I want to play in the background. I want to pay attention to it. I want to take notes to all this stuff. I really do. I don't care what this fucking white dude thinks about his fellow, white Latinos. I don't know if I could get myself to waste an hour watching it. And I think a lot of it is aesthetics too. It's a very kind of hipster look that they have that I'm already out. I'm already out. I will judge a book by its cover. I will. I can be honest. And now I'm sure this is great. I recommend y'all to watch it. 4 days ago, already has 62,000 views. I'm sure it's awesome. I can spend 3 hours listening to Pisco and the alleged pedo Destiny argue nonsense. Argue absolute fucking brain-numbing nonsense. And I'm hate watching. And at the end of the day, I don't care what they had to say. I can't explain it. But maybe it's when I don't know what it is. I really don't know what it is. I can't explain it. Maybe I'm just a fucking hater. But I know at some point I gotta watch this because I do plan to make a video on white Dinos. And I hope he talks about the casa system. I hope he talks about blancamiento. I hope he talks about all that stuff. In the chat, Comrade is saying, Comrade Red Rue. He does admit that South America is colony mainly, which is dope, awesome. Like I said, I'm sure it's a great fucking video. There is something wrong with me. I'm a fucking hater. I don't know what it is. But shit like this, bro. Like, hold on. Nah, it's it's definitely me. He's white, the fit, the necklace. It's just for whatever reason, people like this cause me to roll my fucking eyes and want to like claw my eyes out. Which is not fair to them. It's not fair to them at all. I want you to understand I am the problem. I am the problem. We know this. I understand this. He could be whatever the fuck. He's white to me. If I see him, I'm like, that's a white dude. Maybe I'm not racist enough. Maybe I'm not racist enough to think otherwise. Or maybe I need to get up close. But and also like I don't know why like because the thing would be to distinguish him would be like the eyes or something like that. The eyes, Chico, right? The eyes. That would be the thing. The fuck are you guys? I don't know. Maybe because like I'm bad with names, but I don't have face blindness to where like no, white people have small eyes too. Some white people have lips, believe it or not. Yeah, so I don't know. It's me. All right. Let's get to it. I'm sure it's great. You know what? Look. Olive branch. I'll throw that in the chat as well. I'm sure they're a great person. I'm sure they have great ideas. I'm sure they're all these things. Something about me. I mean, it's part of the reason too why like I struggle to like put myself in thumbnails. I struggle to do that. Because I could talk here for 6 hours sometimes but I still don't think it's about me. And I appreciate all of your support, your viewership, all that. For in my mind, I'm like, I'm not doing anything though. I'm not doing anything special, right? So to get myself in that mental state to be like, I'm gonna put myself in a thumbnail, I need to like battle through that, right? So when I see like foods like this, it's a me problem. I'm trying to get that across, and it's like, homies, you're squaring up and you're right in the middle. And it makes sense for this one because I guess you're saying that somebody said he's Dominican or something. It makes sense because he's a white Latino, so it makes sense. You know what I mean? But it's just little things like that. I'm just like, it ain't your fault. Elliot, I'm sure you're an awesome, amazing, down to earth fucking person. I'm not a good person though. That's the problem. All right. Let's get to it. So this is by Nick M, and it's from a while ago. But like I was saying, the fact that Mamdani is about to get sworn in, and I do sincerely, as I mentioned in FD's, I don't know if he included that part of the video, but I really do sincerely hope that Mamdani gets as much of his platform accomplished as possible in terms of providing services for the community, especially like free transportation. As somebody that grew up on the metro system, as somebody who like adores public transportation, like I fucking hate driving. I sincerely fucking hate driving. And I've been in 2 really bad car accidents where the cars were totaled. Neither of them were my fault, and I'm not saying that to be like I'm not a great driver, but they weren't my fault. And thankfully, like the insurance acknowledged that, recognized that, and the insurance did what the insurance should always be doing, right? Watching out for you, which is not there. Anywho, so total 2 cars, and if you see those vehicles, you would think that I was a bloody mess. And I was just fortunate enough to be able to walk away from both of them clean. The second one, a little bit of knee pain, I'm not gonna lie. But I think that was mainly because the car kind of spun out a little bit, just a little bit. And so that torque of, I think the rotation was what jacked up my knee a little bit. But I hate driving. And I know in other cities or in the heart of cities, it gets even more difficult, especially for working class people. And I think of elderly people. I think of las señoras y los señores that you see them cross the street and you know they're trying their best to get across the sidewalk to the other side of the sidewalk as quickly as possible, but their bodies just can't move as quickly anymore. And when you're sitting there in traffic and you're seeing that, and I'm always late to everything, so I'm always frustrated while driving, mainly with myself. But when I see that, there's that moment of kind of like,
I voted for Kamala Harris. You got a problem?
thank you for the super chat, Access Audio. And you breathe in like that moment of reality of your mortality, of the fact that we're all going to be, if we're lucky, that age, and we're all going to struggle to cross the road. And I love that Mr. Krabs kind of, when the Boy Scout helps him, he's like, we're almost there, old man. I love that shit. It just calms you and reminds you that like, we're all going to be vulnerable once again to that extent, right? Physically to that extent. Anywho, so I hate driving and I love public transportation, and it should be free and it should be readily available, and it should be, if it was up to me, every fucking 30 minutes, you know, like that's where I wanted to be at. So I really do hope that and everything imaginable can get to the people that he's representing. I really do sincerely want that. Because at the end of the day, no matter what accusations are made about me, I am very pragmatic. Because I've experienced some of these things, and I know how much it can fucking help. I know how much it can help, but I also know that it's not nearly enough, and that these compromises are just sacrificing the most marginalized. That's all it is. A compromise is just a sacrifice of the most marginalized. And that's what breaks my heart more, because I will always say this. I am the fortunate son. I am so damn lucky. And that luck came with some sacrifices, and not always at my expense. But I can never forget that. And knowing that what we consider small victories means that we're celebrating, erasing, silencing, forgetting, banishing, normalizing their non-existence of those that weren't fortunate enough. That will either end up in a body bag or end up in prison. That's what fucking fuels my need and support for revolutionary change. Because a compromise is just sacrificing the marginalized. That's all it is. And I got so fucking lucky that I was on the right side of that. Access Audio, thank you for super chat. The surgeons could not shut his mouth to save his teeth. I mean, there's been a lot of unfortunate deaths in the squared circle. I don't think one would have been. I don't think one more added to that count would have been such a tragedy the night of the Jake Paul Joshua fight. Not that I would ever wish that on anyone. I'm bored as hell and I want to get ill. I will say, like, I think that was an early introduction, maybe my first introduction to NWA. Look, that kind of like acoustic-y white boy cover. So I'm like, what song is this? And then I so maybe. All right, let's get to it. Zohran and the limits of Deliverism. The euphoria around Zohran Mamdani's election as mayor of New York City was palpable. and in many ways justified. Zohran emerged as a novel kind of politician. I mean, sure, if you have the memory of a fucking goldfish, sure. He articulated the working people of New York City as a class and channeled the energies of the Democratic base, including the visceral rejection of oligarchic society, the genocide in Gaza, and the geriatric technocracy of the Democratic Party, and a potent ethical political vision. I will say this. This reminds me. So as I'm trying to wrap up the Grand Platinum video, I kind of need to wrap it up this Friday because the background is not going to be available to me anymore. It's going to be a drastic change from the start or the more than half of the video to just the end. And I don't want to do that. I think visually you need to keep some consistency. And it's maybe a reason why I won't keep my hair down for videos moving forward, because pinche melena is hard to deal with. Anywho, the Majority Report crew, Emma Vigeland, and the other war criminal that they have there, I forget, Brian is his name? Brian? I don't know. But they were talking about how if you compare if you compare Graham Plattner to Fetterman, or if you bring up Fetterman in order to fearmonger about Graham Plattner, then you're letting people know that you're new to the political involvement. I don't know what they said, like just to political system, that you're new to it. And it makes me laugh because I'm like, well, if you fall for Mamdani, then you're revealing that you're new to it. Because after Obama, so either you're new to it or you're complicit in the pushing of this illusion. And that's kind of like frustrating when you hear these rad lips talk, because they're so arrogant. They're so fucking arrogant. So we're like, well, if you're bringing up Fetterman with Graham Plattner, then you're just not as educated as we are and aware of politics like we are. Yeah, but if you're glorifying Mamdani and we're pointing him out as Obama 2.0, as Obama was fucking calling him, what the fuck does that make you? Not ignorant, but complicit in the illusion, right? His campaign demonstrated the maturity of the left populist movement that spread without Jesus fucking Christ. Again, we hate populism around here. In a settler colonial project, populism is representing the populace, right? The majority. Who is the majority here? The settler is the majority here. The objective of every settler colonial project is to gain a numerical majority on the land. And then they can grant some of the indigenous population that has been exterminated and withered down, subjugated, exiled, ethnically cleansed. And then they could grant them some forms of civil liberties, because then they're not a threat within the system that the settler colonial project has established and benefits from. So they need a numerical majority. So populism in the settler colonial project is just advocating for the needs and wants of the settler. Imagine somebody saying, oh yeah, what the Zionist entity needs is populism. You're like, what? Why? Why the fuck would you be advocating for that? What these settler colonial projects needs is decolonization, first and foremost. All right. His campaign demonstrated the maturity of the left populist movement that sparked with Occupy in 2008, proving that a bold democratic socialist vision could crystallize a collective will for a horizon beyond neoliberal decay. It seemed to herald, as I argued previously, a resumption of America's long-deferred democratic revolution. So you already know the angle that this author is taking. But again, we're looking at his critique of Mamdani, or his concerns of the upcoming Mamdani campaign, rather than this kind of like American exceptionalist mythology that somehow America has been in pursuit of true democracy. And the way that this whole idea of continuing to try and connect Occupy, which essentially, and in many, you know, and again, respect to the anarchists that I know and that do the work, but the failures of Occupy and not having an established hierarchy, meaning the embrace of anarchism in one form, maybe rudimentary, right? Whatever criticisms we have of that, and we're not going to ignore that the state, through Obama, came crashing down on them. And from what I recall, was predominantly white in general. So, you know, all these factors that play against it. But regardless of all that shit, to try and connect Occupy to Mamdani when he was getting phone calls from the guy that crushed Occupy, I don't understand how people more intelligent, more well-informed, more articulate than myself can be making these types of fucking mistakes. I really don't. However, a recent development reveals the first major tensions in this project, exposing a strategic divergence that risks containing its radical potential. When the New York City Democratic Socialists of America, DSA, debated whether to mount a primary challenge against House Democratic leader Hakeem Jeffries, Zohran, a member of the organization, intervened. He reportedly gave a speech encouraging a no vote. The measure failed narrowly, swayed and almost certainly by the mayor-elect's substantial influence. His rationale, as understood, is pragmatic. As mayor, As mayor, he needs to work with powerful figures in the Democratic establishment to pass his agenda, freezing rents, fast and free buses, and building affordable housing. Antagonizing the future Speaker of the House, who represents part of Brooklyn and controls key levers of federal influence, was seen as counterproductive to the goal of passing his affordability agenda. This, without thinking of the backroom deals and Hakeem Jeffries' late endorsement of Mamdani, which meant that there were some negotiations going around behind the scenes about securing that endorsement, guarantees that Mamdani had to make. And from the looks of things, which is not support, at the very least, a Democratic Socialist of America organizational campaign against Hakeem Jeffries. Sorry, I was trying to figure out how to word that. Because I was going to call it a party. Again, it's not a party, and it's an organization. It's an organization that is funneling new faces, new figures, and helping rebrand the Democratic Party. Something that cannot be levied against other leftist parties that are not, very obviously, not vanguard parties. But at the very least, are not working in alignment with the Democratic Party, the way that the DSA organization does. I'm trying not to be petty. And just move along. Let's see. So these backroom deals were happening. So if you want to ignore that and excuse that, then at the end of the day, you still have to fall, at the very least, at the position that Mamdani did not believe that Ose had him in him to challenge or to secure victory over Hakeem Jeffries, even with the full support of the DSA that got Mamdani his victory. I understood why the DSA would not endorse Ose. I just am against Mamdani using his influence to secure that no vote. This logic is understandable, but fundamentally limited. It marks a shift from the political insurgent who challenged the hegemony of the Democratic Party to the municipal, executive, who seeks accommodation within it. I mean, but I skimmed through this and mainly the later half of it because I just figured, and as I'm trying to get through more articles that we would cover on stream, you realize that a lot of the intro of an article is a lot of fluff or a lot of background information, right? But what I'm concerned about is the conclusion of these articles. Normally, if I'm speaking to somebody, I want to know how you got. I want to learn the process. I want to hear from you, right? Not so much your conclusion, especially if we agree. But with these articles, I don't want to waste time and end up in a conclusion that I'm just kind of like, ugh, why the fuck did we read this, right? Even if they provide a cool foundation of understanding at the beginning. So anywho, I didn't get to really see this part of it, glimpse at it. This logic is understandable, but fundamentally limited. It marks a shift from the political insurgent, who challenged the hegemony of the Democratic Party to the municipal executive who seeks accommodation within it. Isn't that what always happens to these political insurgents going into the Democratic Party to change it from within? I mean, how many times are they going to run this fucking play before you stop being shocked that they're the ones seeking accommodations? So for me, it's just really frustrating because I'm like, how naive are you? Or are you part of the fucking, selling the game? In doing so, it risks replicating on the socialist left the very failing that doom Bidenism and constrains progressive politics everywhere, the fallacy of deliverism. As I argued in analyzing the 2024 election, the Biden administration's belief that strong macroeconomic data and discrete policy wins, the IRA, CHIPS Act, would translate into political success was a miscalculation. They operated on a technocratic, economistic assumption. Deliver material improvements and voters will reciprocate with support. This failed because it ignored the ideological and narrative terrain upon which economic reality is interpreted. Inflation wasn't just a statistic, it was experienced through a lens of anxiety and unfairness, which the right expertly weaponized into a story of national decline. Biden offered policy, Trump offered a story. The vibes weren't irrational, they were the subjective manifestation of a political crisis. Now, I've heard liberals kind of pitch a distorted version of this. And while I think this is done in a better attempt to be good faith, the issue here is that no matter how you want to characterize Bidenism, what are they calling, like Reaganomics, but Bidenomics, whatever, however you want to paint that narrative, at the end of the day, what was done through the Biden administration was not sufficient enough to challenge the fascistic, the nationalist, the jingoistic, the xenophobic sense of empowerment that settlers and compradors feel through Trump. Meaning, if they're going to get fucked over anyways and not be aided in their time of need, then at the very least, they can feel like they've won and they could rub their noses at somebody else. While they're falling further into despair and economic debt. At the very least, they can hate something and be angry at someone and feel like once again they flipped off the system, when Trump has always been part of it. But his whole character of being a maverick has always been utter bullshit. And again, with these Epstein files, all these people partnered together, right? It's not a revelation. Excuse me. I know that like post-Wopolists, well, those people that post-Wopoly bullshit, like revolutionary sellouts, Network, Nick Cruz, all these people, Heartland's Media, all these fucking people, right? Act like saying, quoting Carlin and saying, it's a big club and you're not in it. It's some fucking revolutionary insight. No, it isn't. It just isn't. Like, they just hype themselves up with it. But, at the end of the day, what the Democratic Party needs is an FDR. And I know, like, Crystal Ball and these figures, these desperate figures, want that FDR in order to save capitalism and secure their position, maintain the status quo, and to not allow the masses to fall for barbarism, to fall for fascism, and risk, how they make an income. But they'll adapt. They always do. Liberals know how to cozy up to fascists and reactionaries. You see it in Breaking Points. Crystal Ballsager, Ryan Grimm, and the other white woman. Just really disgusting figures. And all of them. Anywho, so with that in mind, like, they need an FDR, and Biden wasn't doing enough. Biden was like, Bernie talked about this. Who else talked about this? Crystal Ball, Kyle Kalinske, Sam Cedar. They all talk about this, where Biden was the most left-leaning, pro-worker, pro-union president we've had since FDR, or at least in decades or whatever the fuck, right? Yeah, but it was already so fucking watered down compared to what the masses needed in order to secure the democratic illusion. The scourge of outward rabid fascism to be adopted and implemented. What the people needed in order to be happy within the illusion and the pursuit of the American dream was not met by Biden, and that's why he fucking lost. It was insufficient. FDR was in a desperate situation. He acknowledged it, and he knew that he needed to provide all these social safety nets in order to save capitalism, in order to deter the masses from embracing, at that time, actual left movements led by socialists, communists, and anarchists, especially within, unions. We don't have that anymore. So the way to implement those FDR changes is through the president again, but it's not going to have external pressure. Now it's on the Democratic Party's leadership to kind of like screw themselves over a little bit financially in order to provide this and save capitalism from itself. I always wonder how loud you guys, or how loud the dogs actually are in the background. Let's see here. Let me make sure what's going on out here. Give me 1 sec, y'all.
I voted for Kamala Harris. You got a problem?
This fool. It's raining and it's like, homie really needs to go to the groomers. He cannot go out there and get wet. Thank you so much for the super chat. And Walker. Oh, Merry Christmas Eve. Appreciate it. All right. A lot of nostalgia for the New Deal, and FDR is MAGA for libs. Literally, like they're yearning for, calling out for, crying for Japanese internment camps. That's what they're craving for. Let's see where we're at. Zohran's post-election pragmatism now falls into a localized version of the same error. His apparent theory is that successful governance, the efficient delivery of popular municipal policies, will serve as its own justification and engine for change. Point to New York, the thinking goes, as proof of concept for socialist politics. This is a trap of economicism. The belief that the accumulation of tangible economic deliveries is the primary push to building power. This approach misreads both the nature of political transformation and the very source of his campaign's initial power. As seen with Biden, material concessions alone cannot sustain political energy or forge a durable collective identity. A tenant who benefits from a rent freeze is grateful, but they are not automatically transformed into a political subject engaged in the hegemonic struggle. Politics requires a story, a conflict, a sense of being part of a larger project of civilizational transformation. Reducing socialism to competent progressive municipal management sells the vision short. It swaps the horizon of a democratic revolution for the horizon of a well-run city department. Bill de Blasio, a progressive predecessor, delivered universal pre-K and rent freezes. He was a good mayor on many metrics, yet his administration did not spark an ideological shift. It was contained, often mocked, and ultimately absorbed by the city's unchallenged neoliberal power structures. Rather than cemented progressive legacy, his reforms resulted in the next year's mayor being a arch-corrupt Eric Adams, who subsequently rolled back many of de Blasio's accomplishments. So I will say this. I think this sentiment is misplaced. I don't think Mamdani, definitely not Biden, was ever going to provide these things. So to put that pressure or expectation on them, I think is misguided, to say the least. But I don't think they're necessarily wrong that simply delivering to people is sufficient. And you see this a lot with like mutual aid. And, you know, I love mutual aid. I love the people that do it. It is necessary. It is literally life-saving for some people that are dependent upon it. So I don't want to minimize it to that degree. However, if you're not out there alongside the providing mutual aid, trying to educate, influence the people that you're helping and how they see the world and their struggle and their place within it, then it really is reduced to charity at that point, right? So when you're offering people something and you're not offering them knowledge to go alongside with it, awareness to go alongside with it, then you're doing them a disservice. And ultimately, you're not going to grow your movement that way either. Because you need those people. More than anything, you need those people getting involved because they've experienced it. They understand the culture and the language of those communities that you're trying to reach into. So if you don't have, if you're providing all this shit and you're not educating people on why more is needed, then they're going to lack the knowledge of how to resist people like Adams that are just going to roll that back to their life being as shitty as it was before. And those shitty improvements won't continue to grow. And this is why it was essential for FDR to get rid of the socialists, the communists, and the anarchists. It was essential for him to get rid of the radicals because they were the ones educating the masses saying, hey, yeah, this is great, don't get me wrong, but we need more. This is not going to be sufficient. Hey, they're going to roll back this shit because they gave it to us. Nothing that is given is truly ours. We need to fucking take it. Because what is given is always crumbs. When they give us shit, it's because they know that that is expendable, that they can afford to throw that at us. It's what they're unwilling to give us that we fucking need. It's what they need that we need to acquire. And they're never going to give up that willingly. Fuck the G rides. I want the machines that are making them. I mean, it's that fucking simple, right? What if the state started giving out fucking cars? You know what? Tesla stock's kind of fucking down. Trying to make it an elitist kind of fucking car, this and that. Didn't really work out. Let's flip the script. Let's make it an everyman's car now. Right? Everyone gets a Tesla. The government pays for it. Tesla stock goes up. The government is seen as doing a good service for people, yada, yada. You throw a bunch of ads of working class families relying on Tesla, being like, we don't have to pay for gas anymore. We don't have to use public transportation to be amongst the other poors and the mentally ill that we refuse to aid in this society. And we continue to vilify, right? And then everybody's like, oh my gosh, this is so fucking awesome. I hate saying shit like this out loud because I'm like, God damn it, if it happens, it's fully my fault. But it's like, imagine the state did that. They be content. You have a fucking Tesla. You have a car. You have a vehicle. What more do you want? And it's energy efficient, it's green, all this fucking bullshit, right? So stop fucking crying when we invade Bolivia. Because we need those fucking mines. You better fucking vote for us. Or do you want us to take away the fucking cars? You want to make sure your kids have a state-provided vehicle, right? Did I say expandable? Yes, expendable. But yes. That amazing Oscar-worthy movies. Actually, the best action films ever made. Better than Mad Max and T2. Any day of the week. Expendables. That was weird. All right. This pragmatism risks an abdication of the ideological struggle. Should we start from the top? Okay. This pragmatism risks an abdication of the ideological struggle. The decisions to protect Hakeem Jeffries, while seemingly an understandable tactical choice, was a symbolic abdication of leadership in the ongoing left populist insurgency in the Democratic Party. Again, I mean, this article requires some like suspense of disbelief, but the overall message on the pitfalls of deliverism, I think, are worth engaging with, because at the very least, I think this is more palatable. Is that the word I'm looking for? More digestible for a radlib to be forced to contend with. But again, it's all pinned on the idea that the Democratic Party, either through Democratic nominees like Graham Plattner or DSA, you know, gold star, happy face stickered Democratic Party members like Mamdani and AOC can provide this change from the Democratic Party. I mean, that's is that pragmatism or delusion or complicit? But I will say stuff like this, it is like, that's why I laugh when I'm like, he's a little Machiavellian, and I appreciate that. I like that shit. I like seeing that cutthroat stuff. There's a reason why I enjoyed fucking Succession. It wasn't because I was sympathetic with these rich characters. It's because I like, you know, rich white people screwing themselves over. Yes, please. That sounds like a great fucking show. A good time to watch. So again, this is a great Machiavellian move. It was, I think, the correct tactical choice. But in order for that to be true, it is also true, it is required to be true, that Mamdani is willing to sacrifice the larger DSA movement for his own benefit. Where are we at? Jeffries is the perfect avatar of the decaying Democratic establishment, superficially oppositional to Trump, but ineffectual, uncharismatic, and fundamentally committed to oligarchic finance. The Zionism and the suffocating normalcy that Zohran's campaign rejected. A serious primary challenge, especially at the peak of Zohran's national spotlight, would have been a seismic act of political clarification. It would have drawn a bright line between two irreconcilable projects: invigorating socialism versus fraying liberalism. Democratic socialism, y'all. It would have forced a national conversation, captured media attention, and demonstrated that the movement is expansive and relentless, not content with a single municipal victory. By arguing for caution, Zohran prioritized marginal peace over ideological conflict, effectively telling the energy that elected him to stand down at a moment of maximum potential. This I fucking love. This is accurate. 100%. This last part of it. Now, I wish I wouldn't have deleted. There was this, I don't know if he was a governor or mayor. He was a black governor or mayor or something that was also part of DSA. He was wearing glasses. I think he got brought up on corruption charges, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know how legitimate those are, though. And there was an article, I'll see if I could find it in my history, that I'm like, I don't know if I want to read this. And I deleted it. But it was about this municipal approach to try and demonstrate, yes, proof of concept. Oh, socialism doesn't work. Show me where socialism works. And then Mamdani, Bernie, AOC are like, we'll show you. It works right here. And it's just national socialism. But that this approach is insufficient, unproductive, but also, I think, a waste of fucking time. And again, we always have to remember that we're running up against the clock. It's not like we have all this fucking time. Global warming is the ticking time bomb. And if we don't organize properly, the capitalist class will destroy the planet, will secure its complete destruction insofar as the extinction of the human race. But this idea that he sacrificed the spotlight, the momentum, if Mamdani would have immediately turned around, can you imagine, okay, celebrating this, celebrating that, right? What was Bernie's whole thing? Not me, but us, or some shit like that, right? That was his slogan, Bernie's slogan. Let's see. Slang, Bernie slang. Something about us, right? What was it? Should be the image. Not me, us. And he proved that no, it was definitely him and his concern to not end up like Ralph Nader. And that's why he said, my good friend, Jim Crow Joe, right? So imagine if Mamdani had that idea of like, okay, it's not about me. It's about a broader movement. And on victory night, as everybody was like high on that shit. I mean, you saw Hassan Piker, Bowman, Mehdi Hassan. You saw all these figures. Katie Halper, like high on the fucking DSA supply. If on that very night he would have gave his acceptance speech, his victory speech, all that shit, right? His victory speech. And then he'd be like, and one more thing. And he brings Osei to the stage. And we're going after Hakeem Jeffries' seat next. That place would have fucking erupted. And that entire, I mean, the co-headline with Mamdani wins would be Osei challenges Hakeem Jeffries. And you would have forever connected those two things. Mamdani's victory, that for me, I mean, it's a padded record. You brought an old wash up, excommunicado fucking Cuomo for an easy fucking padding of your record, but nonetheless, the people believed it. It was a good enough performance, and Cuomo was had enough heat, had enough of, was enough of a heel to make it seem like he was more of a challenge than he really was. But if you would have mixed that with Mamdani's, I mean, am I wrong here? Can you imagine that night? Everybody's fucking just pumped up. We got another one, and immediately turning around and said, and here's the next fucking challenge. Here's the next mountain we have to climb. Here's the next fucking Goliath that we need to bring down. I think it would have forced a lot of us that may be petty haters, actually socialists, actual communists, actual anarchists, to kind of take a step back and be like, oh shit, they're fucking going for it. They're not going to stop. They're going to continue this fucking train moving forward. They're going to use that momentum to catapult Ose. That would have been a fucking like, oh shit, wait a minute. They're not just over here playing footsies with the Democratic Party. They're actually trying to do something. But that didn't happen. In fact, the opposite. But I'm just saying, picture that for a moment. It would have been hard to, I don't see how that victory feel. And this is one of the reasons why I stopped going to like marches. And I've gone to a couple. But I remember years ago going to a May Day like march. And man, I was yelling all this shit, bro. All this, right? I think I was in Santa Ana. And this is years ago. And then, we're done with the march, whatever. And then I'm just like, I feel great, right? I'm like, okay, what next? And the people are like, well, we're all gonna go home. We gotta wrap up this and that. There's a lot of planning to get this, and I'm just like, no, like, let's go. What's the next round? Let's do something else, right? Even if it was a workshop or whatever, something, right? Again, can you imagine with that victory, the ecstasy of victory? In that very moment, the idea of beating Hakeem Jeffries would have been like a given. Of course we're gonna defeat him. We just won. We just beat Cuomo. Of course we can defeat Hakeem Jeffries. And so all those people that were out there in the streets for Mamdani would have immediately been down to go off our Ose and be like, let's go fucking, 2-0. That's the mentality that they would have been carrying, very much like, a sports team or whatnot. Let's keep going. And again, the end goal would be what? The championship, which would be the presidency, right? AOC is right there in the wings. So you start seeing that building of an actual DSA political takeover of the Democratic Party. But that didn't happen. It's not going to happen. Okay. Furthermore, New York City's mayor is powerful, but also heavily constrained by the federal and state governments, financial markets, and the structural power of capital. The agenda of a socialist mayor, however popular, will face relentless, well-funded opposition. To believe that cordial relations with party bosses like Jeffries will disarm this opposition is naive. Leverage comes not from politeness, but from the relentless contesting of power and the constant threat of mobilizing popular energy. The best defense for Zohran's agenda in Albany and Washington, rather than a quiet understanding with Jeffries, was a vibrant, threatening national movement that made punishing a popular socialist mayor politically unattainable. Disarming the base to placate power centers weakens, not strengthens, his hand. You can't be playing fucking defense when you have the forward momentum. If you have somebody in the corner and you're just right? If you have them up against the cage And you see this more in MMA. You really do. It's so fucking frustrating. They back away, regain center or whatever, right? It's easier to hold somebody in the corner for sure, but you don't let them out. You force them to earn and put themselves in a more compromising position to extend themselves to circle out or push you back from that corner or from being alongside the cage. But you do not give up that space. You do not give them an exit. You make them earn that exit. You do not retreat. And that's what Mamdani did. He retreated for his own personal safety instead of the pursuit of a greater victory. Ooh, if I stay in this position, I might get knocked out. Let me regain the center, open space. That way, if I get injured, I can start circling around easier instead of getting turned around into the corner or against the cage immediately. I don't know. I'm sorry I made that. I really miss training. I have not got things have been hectic and I have not been training. So I'm like needing it. All right. And that was probably like a bad fucking metaphor. Okay. This accommodation misreads the very source of the campaign's power. Zohran's policy, proposal were never powerful solely for their economic utility. Their potency lay in their function as signal of class struggle. Raising the city's top tax rate to match New Jersey's is, in strict economic terms, a mild reform. The wealthy will remain wealthy, yet it sparked intense opposition because it represented a power shift, a declaration that capital prerogatives could be challenged, that the city's resources could be mobilized against its will. The proposals were vectors of political energy, crystallizing an us versus them antagonism. The post-election contradictions is that the pursuit of those policies as deliverables now comes at the expense of the struggle for power that gave them meaning. By protecting Jeffries to smooth the path of implementation, Zohran seeks to decouple the policy from the conflict, to extract the economic concessions while relinquishing the fight to attain power. This transforms a demand that signals a rebalancing of class power into technocratic adjustments to be negotiated with the very powers it was meant to challenge. This paragraph, the most frustrating part about this, especially in talking to radlibs or, socialists that take the DSA seriously, is like, the fucking answer already. You can articulate it. You can be articulate and explain it better than I ever could. And you're using all that knowledge and like awareness to blind you into continuing supporting them. They know this. You know this. You're not special. You're not intelligent. You're not unique. You're not God's gift to earth. You're not the only one that can see, and the rest of us are blind. They know this as well. And the idea that you think that you're revealing something unique, and that enough people read this, that it would somehow force the DSA to change, is preposterous. And I've said this before. Look, if you join the DSA, I'm not telling you not to join the DSA. I'm saying if you join it, what do we always say at the end of the stream? Organize with eyes wide open, Glenn Ford. Meaning, if you join the DSA, I'm not going to hate on you. How I might join the DSA one day. You're not going to hear me brag about it. Some people might. I won't. You're not going to see me in their fucking conventions asking to take picture with their mascots. Some people might. I won't. But I'm going to be organizing with my eyes wide open and try to gain as much information and make as much, connections, build relationships with, find comrades that understand that this is a futile, bureaucratic effort. So again, I'm not saying don't join the DSA. I'm saying just be aware of what the DSA is. It's a Democratic Party rebranding organization. So this idea of like the celebration of a mild reform, still willing to sacrifice this shit regardless. I just really, really enjoy this paragraph. But again, it feels like, well, you know the fucking answer. And again, I'll go back to this example because it just made me laugh so fucking much because it was so profound. It was on some like guru ass shit. And I think I first heard it in Bad Faith with Brianna Joy Gray, where she or someone asked somewhere, asked Dr. Gerald Horn how he was able to be so productive. Because he has a hard out. I think he goes to bed at 9 p.m. or something like that. And they're like, how, what's your secret? We know you sleep early, you probably eat well. What's your secret to being so productive? And man, Gerald Horn's so beautiful. He just laughs and he goes, if you got to ask, you already know. If you're asking me, you already know. Meaning, no one outside of you can tell you what is holding you back from doing more of the things that you want to do. And at the end of it, and I remember talking to my coach about this because, like I said, I haven't been training because I have different priorities, right? And I don't know why I came up with this where I'm like, I think at the time he was trying to use a lot of quotes to inspire people on the whiteboard or as you walk in. And so I was thinking about quotes and stuff like that. And I was like, oh, I never want to sound like I'm making excuses, right? But when it comes to training and me not showing up when I should, or as consistently as I should, I was like, oh, okay. What I say some bullshit like excuses are like misguided priorities or the things that you're unwilling to like. Yeah, I think that's what it was. Excuses are misguided priorities. Something along those lines. Or excuses are the distractions that you're unwilling to sacrifice. Excuses are the distractions that you're unwilling to sacrifice. And it's like, what are you going to sacrifice? Are you going to sacrifice staying up late, which I love to do because I'm a fucking night out? Are you going to sacrifice not being on your phone? Are you going to sacrifice not eating trash food? Are you going to sacrifice getting off your ass and, at least going for a walk? Because your body, your mind fucking needs that to function to its fullest. It needs some type of physical exertion. So you know what you need to do and you know what's holding you back. So stop asking and fucking do it. All these fucking self-help books, they're not going to do shit for you. You got to do it. It sucks. It fucking sucks. You got to do it. I hate sleeping early. But you know what's worse than sleeping early? Only sleeping 4 hours. And I do that quite often because I got to be up early as fuck. I work mornings and the drive, all this shit. So, but what do I need to do to at least get 7 hours? I need to sleep early. That means I need to put down my phone. I need to turn off the TV. I need to turn off the laptop, whatever. And get my ass to bed. And guess what? It sucks. It really does because there's more time in the night. There's more time in the day to be used and misused. But the next day, oh shit, you're in a good attitude, huh? You got a good energy with you, don't you? You're aware. You breathe in better. You're more alert. You're more capable of engaging with text and understanding and conceptualizing, and your brain is able to process new information and retain it because it's well rested. I'm speaking to myself at this point. I don't know where we're at now, but I'm talking to myself. Man. Avas, I gotta stop drinking caffeine or eating sugar by 4 p.m. if I want to sleep early at all. Avas, that's how I know you're not Central American. Shout out to all the beautiful Central American people because I don't know what's in the water out there that you can drink caffeinated. I'm not talking decaf. Caffeinated coffee turn your asses around and go straight to bed. I've seen it countless of times, and it is a superpower that needs to be studied. ¿Tienen café en el biberón or what? Like, what's going on? Man. Yes, recovery is as important as fitness for sure. And that's, I mean, really, if you should always prioritize your sleep. I know it's difficult when you got so much on your plate, but man, like, I feel like we need to stop calling it sleep. You know what I mean? We need to stop calling it sleep and just calling it like fucking I don't know, like rehabilitation. I don't know, something different, because it's not, or recovery, I guess, right? Because I feel like sleep doesn't really inform you of what your body is doing in that moment. And I will always, my tinfoil hat theory is that, like, sleep for me, in my opinion, sleeping, the necessity for sleep is proof that we're in a fucking simulation. I don't understand why we need sleep. I really don't. I don't get it. I don't understand why we need to recharge, which is what sleep is, right? Because you're not really fucking sleeping. Like, your brain never shuts off. You don't stop breathing. You don't stop whatever, you know, your heart doesn't stop beating. All your functions continue to work. Your brain is still active. So what the fuck is sleep for? I think Nas was right now. You get what I'm saying? So for me, sleep has always been confirmation that we live in some type of simulation, that these are just vessels, that we're not, that we're something beyond this shit, whatever. Again, hard to be an atheist with the way my fucking mind works. Zohran's decision illustrates the central tension inherent in the socialist project today. The clash between the political struggle for power, which requires relentless ideological expansion and conflict, and the logic of deliverism, which seeks tangible wins within existing constraints, often necessitating accommodation with antagonistic forces. His campaign brilliantly executed the first. His intervention in the DSA vote privileged the second. The task of socialists seeking to become a genuine political force, a party in the Gramscian sense, not merely an activist machine, is to hold those two logics in a dynamic, productive tension. It is not to choose between governing and struggling, but to understand that governance, to be transformative, must be an extension of the ideological and political struggle, not a retreat from it. Beautiful. Worth reading this whole fucking thing, whatever disagreements we may have with it, whatever naivete, disillusion, jadedness, whatever accusations you want to put on this article. This paragraph here alone, I think it's worth its weight in gold. I love when I read this one, I was like, oh, okay, yes, we got to read the whole thing. I hope I'm not overhyping it. I think I've been critical enough of this article to kind of hype it up to this degree. Yeah, but it's just I just don't see how the task of socialists seeking to become a genuine political force can ever be accomplished with the DSA. Now, the illusion of it, right? The way that people perceive the DSA as an actual party and not an organization. So that illusion that it is accomplishing that it can maintain regardless of these victories. All right, let's wrap up here. The democratic revolution will not be administered from City Hall. It will be won by forcing open political space, on multiple fronts simultaneously, in city councils, in congressional primary challenges, and in the battle for popular consciousness. Zohran's mayoralty can be a powerful nod in this network, but only if it is understood as one front in a wider war of position to freeze rents while leaving a political power of the real estate oligarchy intact is hardly even a temporary victory. To a primary a Jeffries, even at the risk of short-term friction, is to contest the power directly. The lessons of Zohran's pragmatism is not that he was wrong to run for mayor, but that the movement, which ceases to expand, to draw lines, and to fight for ideological leadership, even from a position of hard-won local power, has already begun to accept the limits of the order it seeks to overthrow. Unfortunately, there's nothing concrete material that you can show me. I don't give a fuck about what their party line is. I don't give a shit what their constitution says. The politicians that they endorse and who are able to move the organization, not the other way around, are not seeking to overthrow shit. They're seeking more power. They're seeking advancing their career. That is a fucking concern here. Overall, I'm shout out to Nick M. I hope that it comes across that I actually really did enjoy this. I think that, at times it was a little wordy, or what I didn't appreciate, what there was a language being used that can be perceived to be more radical than what the actual message and thesis of this article was promoting. And that is always concerning to me, because if I'm reading this and I'm just starting to engage with left politics, whatever that may be, and I'm like, oh, these words, he must know what he's talking about. And clearly they do. But using that knowledge, that understanding, to misguide people in support of the idea that the DSA can somehow overthrow, or is actually wanting to overthrow, a status quo that it is literally there to maintain. The DSA is a rebranding exercise from the Democratic Party. In reality, what the DSA is attempting to do is bring back the Democratic Party of old. I guess like we've been talking about, like the whole FDR shit, the glorification of FDR. The DSA is looking for the next FDR. The DSA is the fucking American Idol singing competition done in politics, the political version of it, to find the next FDR. Your reward is polio. No, I'm just kidding. No. A healthy dose polio. Can we joke around about I mean, I don't give a fuck, but how far does an illness how far does it have to be removed before you can joke about it? I guess that's my question. All right. I hope you enjoyed that. I sincerely did enjoy that. Where are we at? Let me see here. Do me a favor, y'all. If you haven't already, please hit the like button. It helps the channel out. Super chats and super stickers are turned on. I appreciate all the support, especially during the holiday seasons. I know no matter at what degree you celebrate the holidays, the expenses start to add up. So anything helps. The Patreon is turned on as well if you want access to the Discord, and if you want to help. For me, the Patreon is something that I'm trying to invest more time into making sure that I produce edited content. I know we joke around a lot about the Grand Platinum video, this and that. It's gonna be about an hour. I've never done an hour long video. I've never done a video solely focused on a political figure. And there's just been so fucking much going on in my personal life. Thankfully, nothing tragic. I'm not trying to gain sympathy. It's just a lot of moving pieces. And after I'm wrapped up with this, things should be set up in a certain way to where I can start at least putting 2 edited videos out a month. That is the goal. That is the realistic goal. But any support helps. More importantly, don't be scared, homies. Get in the chat. We have solid people here. And we're all trying to learn from each other. All right, let's see what's next. Let me make sure we have enough time for... Oh, we have to. I got to be a little petty. I got to be a little petty. This was posted to DSA. This article was posted to DSA. I read it 10 days ago. I'm tired of these discussions. Che, whatever his name is. I promised you that this person was raging out at the way Cuomo was saying Zohran Mamdani would probably be upset at the way I'm saying it. I'm sorry I got an accent. I'm not trying to be fucking a dick like like Cuomo, right? Also, totally forgot. Technically, The Godfather is a Christmas movie. Am I wrong? There's a whole ass scene with Michael and Kate are Christmas shopping. It goes through a long time, so I don't know if it's necessarily, but there's a whole ass Christmas thing going on. So I was watching The Godfather yesterday. I haven't found it on sale. You know how I feel about, I like physical media, but it needs to, especially movies, need to be on sale for me to really make that grab. I don't like spending more than $15 on movies, but you know, but I got the part 2 because I think part 2 is like my absolute favorite movie. Godfather Part 2 is my favorite fucking. I just love it so much. I think I might. Yesterday, I think I came up with something. I think I'm gonna channel my inner Dr. Umar, and maybe potentially in the future make a video about Michael Corleone as an Italian American, served in the military, yada yada. His feelings towards his family and that relationship with Kate. I just need to make sure that hasn't been done before. But I was watching it yesterday and I absolutely love and adore those movies. I was watching it yesterday and I was like, oh, I think I've been watching too many Dr. Umar reels because I've never really gotten that interpretation from the movie before. And that's why I do think that it's important to rewatch great movies. It's hard for me to rewatch like movies in general because I feel like there's so many other movies to watch. But great movies should be rewatched because it's like a great book, it's just media. You will catch something different. And this time I was like, oh shit, I think I could provide something different. But again, I don't, the whole media analysis bullshit is like such a fucking tried and overdone fucking. Anywho, all right. What I was focusing on was that this person, and we see how why'd you go to college for? To be stupid? There's just, you know, and I don't know if I talked about this on stream last time. I'm pretty sure I did because it was about mean streets. I was talking about this with my coworkers. Mind you, the workforce where I'm at is blue collar, black and brown, and we got the Samoans and the Islanders, you know, kind of transcending both the black and brown communities, especially the ones from like Long Beach, you know, just the way that it is.
I voted for Kamala Harris. You got problem?
But talking to some of the younger people there, and Harutu, thank you so much for the super chat. The 1990s Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles still holds up. I was never a huge fan, not gonna lie. The live action ones, never a huge fan of them. I didn't like the Michael Bay ones either, though. I just like the animated stuff so much more. But thank you so much for the super chat. I don't know if the alert turned on for that, or I must have missed it. Just the relationship, the because of the Catholic roots of Italians and the Catholic impositions of Latinos, the fact that what is that YouTube channel where they cover hip hop? A homie looks like an old school nerd. Something like Hip Hop Latte or something like that. Rap Latte. This gentleman here to the right.
That became a bit.
I saw some of his TikToks where he was talking about people who pass, white passing people. And it hit me that I'm like, if Italians weren't accepted into whiteness, a lot of Latinos, a lot of Hispanics, a lot of mestizos, whatever the fuck you want to call us, would not have been able to pass. If Italians would not have been accepted into whiteness, a lot of them would not have been able to pass. And I'm not saying we owe these guineas anything. Because Italians and like Irish Bostonians are just some of the most fucking vile anti-black races you'll meet. And Italians even kind of more so in a way, because they were kind of, well, no, the Irish as well, right? They were both kind of placed or labeled as like quote unquote like Black Europeans, right? And so they have that extra resentment towards being associated with blackness, right? That just really harnesses the hatred in a unique way. And that's not to excuse the anti-blackness in the brown community whatsoever. But again, my whole idea was, if there wasn't that broader integration of Italians into whiteness, a lot of Latinos that managed to go under the radar would not have been able to do so. But that kind of also further created that gap between Afro Latinos and Latinos, brown and white Latinos. Still working on it. But yes, they have cool TikToks about passing people. What else? Okay, so the anti-blackness of essentially saying like Che, whatever his name is, but you know for a fact that this person was crying because of the way that Cuomo was saying Mamdani, Zohran Mamdani, right? Che, whatever his name is, failed to secure the votes necessary for his idea. Stop re-legislating it. Have message discipline. This is not every op-ed writer's chance to widen division. Yeah, it's the writer that's widening the division here. And then of course, also there's pretty much a year left. He's not sunk just because he didn't get the DSA endorsement. Why would he run if he didn't get the DSA endorsement? Just a completely juvenile argument. This article argues that improving people's materials condition is inconsequential for the goals of building a large-scale class-based movement. Literally not what they were saying. It's saying that it's insufficient on its own. If making people's lives better didn't work, they wouldn't have killed Fred Hampton. This is why I wanted to bring this up. There's no fucking way this person is, well, I don't know. I don't know how much to go off of. How much weight to put on the color of the little Reddit figure, the Reddit mascot here. There's no way this person's not white, right? There's no way this. If making people's lives better didn't work, they wouldn't have killed Fred Hampton for it. Do these fucking people think? Do these fucking people think that the state assassinated Fred Hampton because the Black Panthers had a breakfast program? God. I'm not proactively trying to hate on the DSA. I promise you, I am not proactively trying to get a community to hate the DSA. I don't know how many ways I need to say it. If you join the DSA, there's nothing wrong with that. Organize with eyes wide open, as Glenn Ford told us. But I want to cry, bro. Oh my gosh, this is so fucking ridiculous. Let's see if somebody can. In a sense, you're correct. In the most absolute charitable, brain dead sense, you're correct. But it should be noted that they also killed Fred Hampton because he was a very popular figure who openly called and organized for socialist revolution. It's better. He did help organize programs that improve people's material conditions directly in a way that the Panthers and co. could manage to provide, but that was certainly not the limit of their politics and goals. So they killed him because he did the combination of improving people's lives while also organizing for straight up socialist revolution overthrow the US state. I would argue, and I'm more than willing and happy to be corrected, that improving people's lives was actually like in the sense of like what they were able to provide that the state was not providing or that could not, kind of had to be a smaller portion of the movements of what the movement was offering, because the awareness that the state could always provide that, as FDR did, right? The state could always step in and be like, oh, we could do it better because they have more money to throw at it. And we saw that literally with the breakfast program. Counterpoint. I doubt Hampton would have been all that popular had he not materially improved lives. I fucking hate these people. Yep. Yeah, I fucking hate these people. We're not gonna read this one today. We're not gonna. I can't do it. I can't do this one today. We'll probably read this Friday if it's also a slow news day. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. This right here looks like a fucking banner for like an OnlyFans account. Respectfully to anyone with an OnlyFans account. And by the way, the OnlyFans apparently is not just for sex workers. Go figure. Because we're already about 2 hours in. I only got about 2 left in me. And there's at least 2 articles that I want to go over. Actually, no. Let's knock this shit out. And there's 3 articles that I want to take on. Yeah, we'll do 3 after this. All right, I'll read it. Fuck it. Yeah, Yipper, keep telling yourself that. No, I'm kidding. Yes, of course it didn't. Actually, for a while, what was that? Oh, Cameo. I always associated OnlyFans more like a Cameo thing at the beginning. Because you know how Cameo, you could pay like old celebrities or just celebrities trying to make some money on the side to like send like personalized messages. I don't know why OnlyFans wasn't like that. You know what I mean? Like I was surprised that wasn't, because for me, like OnlyFans in its inception was the equivalent of going to like a convention, a comic convention, a whatever convention, and going to meet, waiting in line to go meet an artist of whatever medium, and getting like a personalized little drawing, autograph, photo, whatever, right? I always thought of it that way. And I'm like, not to get anti-Semitic about the sex industry. No, I'm kidding. But like, of course, the sex industry would be able to completely upend whatever OnlyFans could have or tried to be at the beginning. It's just because of demand, not because of anything, any weird fucking anti-Semitic, anti-Semitic, non-Zionist related conspiracy theory. So I always figured like the people willing to wait in that line to get a special autograph, a special photo, what have you, or people willing to purchase sketches or unique art of an artist or whatever, or people that collect like Criterion, whatever the case is, right? I always thought that OnlyFans was going to be like directed at them, like premium content for creators. But I just think the demand for pornography was just too great for anything else to be able to survive in that same space without getting the stigma of the sex industry. So yeah, there's a thought. And like I've said before, like whatever my position is on like sex work, I do think a lot of it is very fucking like liberal feminist propaganda. That I never want to do anything, and the reason why I kind of avoid these conversations, because I never want to do anything that's going to stigmatize or further stigmatize sex workers themselves. So if that question ever comes up, it's that is why. Because my issue is like with Johns, with sex tourists, with predators, not with the individuals, because it's not just women, the individuals in desperate need. But I do make a distinction between that and kind of like the first world sex workers who, with a wave of a hand, dismiss the really gruesome and tragic realities of sex work outside of the belly of the beast and within the reality is the brutal fucking things that go down here as well within it. Yeah, but I think that all that shit is like the swerve stuff. I think that's fucking liberal psyop shit. 100%. 100%. So while my position can be changed 100% on sex work, I will be honest and say that I don't think that my position on swerve being used as a stigma is not some fucking psyop. That I'll be honest about. I just need to be more educated on it. All right. Grant Plattner and the left's masculinity crisis. Here we go. Maybe there's a reason why my position is what it is about sex works and Johns. I'm just not comfortable with my masculinity. Let's see here. The left is enamored with macho man. Macho man. And is still doesn't think it's good enough to win on leftist principles. By Yasmin Nair. Or Nair? Like air? Nair? Again, this is a while back. This is from October. This week's latest political scandal centers around Graham Plattner, a candidate for the Maine Senate seat long occupied by Susan Collins. Plattner is endorsed by the likes of Bernie Sanders and Ro Khanna for what are widely recognized as populist politics that include gun rights, housing affordability, and Medicare for all. This particular fracas is unnatural in that it involves a Nazi tattoo. Yeah, a little thing. Just a little Nazi tattoo. Fracas. Disturbance or quarrel. But in a twist, has many on the left defending a man who sported one on his chest for nearly 20 years, was recently found out with it and proceeded to deny he knew it was a Nazi tattoo. The resulting controversy reveals a lot about the left's enchantment with a particular model of masculinity and the extent to which leftists are willing to jettison their avowed leftist politics for fear that they might lose yet another election. You know what? Fuck. I did not want to talk about this before. I just kind of hinted at it that I felt that Ryan Grimm had a weird obsession with Graham Plattner. And I didn't want to do the whole Trump Putin, what I think is homophobic attack. And I don't think that Ryan Grimm has a sexual crush on Graham Plattner. That's not what I'm trying to suggest. But I do think that it is an admiration for Graham Plattner's manliness or his masculinity, right? The perceived notion of Graham Plattner being a man's man, and the fact that Ryan Grimm is this absolute fucking dweeb, right? He's tall, he's white, and whatnot, but he looks like fucking Ned Flanders, bro. He looks like a fucking. Bro, come on, bro. You know what I mean? Sometimes he looks just like a regular white dude. Don't get me wrong. It's actually kind of hard to find when you look like a regular white dude. But if you look at this, if you told me this was fucking, holy shit, why am I blanking out on his name? Especially after all the conspiracy theories, Epstein stuff now, Bill Gates. If you told me this was Bill Gates, I would fucking believe you. Yeah, of course that's Bill Gates, right? If you told somebody, hey, one man owns all of Microsoft, yada yada, all this shit, and his name is Bill Gates, and then you showed them this photo, they would not doubt you. They'd be like, oh, okay, yeah, he looks he looks like he owns Microsoft, Just look at this shit, bro. Look at this. You can't salvage that. You can't save that. And so I do think that he has, again, I'm not making the sexual homophobic attack line because people from Hassan to Emma Vigeland will do this. A lot of Radlibs will be homophobic out of owning the fucking right. Jennifer Welch does this a lot, obscenely, an obscene amount of homophobia from the I've Had It podcast, and they get a pass because they're just white women. So now I'm starting to see why somebody like this, who at times can look like a normal dude. This is just a normal dude. This guy probably snowboards or whatever. This guy fucking has bodies in his fucking basement, bro. This guy will definitely, start a friendly campfire with his other like-minded friends in the forest, Yeah. So now I'm starting to understand, okay, I think he has a. This is good. This is all right. This is all right. He looks like he played football here. This is not bad. Okay. But it's just more misses and hits. Fuck, bro. Come on. That's brutal. So I think that he probably feels a little like he's a pencil pusher. You know what I mean? Like he's a pencil pusher, but Graham Plattner, this is a real man. That's a real man that he could look up to. He was his bartender. You know, his bartender was a badass. I bet he got a bunch of ass. You know what I mean? Oh, he served multiple tours in Iraq. You know, like now I'm starting to see just one paragraph into this. And it's starting to make sense why somebody like Ryan Grimm would be fucking enamored with. And I want to make sure I want to be using that word, enamored. To be filled with a feeling of love for. No, I like the second one. Having a liking or admiration for. Yeah, the second one. Definitely the second one. Okay, it's definitely the second definition of it. Again, because I don't like that weird homophobic like angle. I really don't. Infatuated. Okay, maybe that would be more accurate. Possessed with an intense but short-lived passion or admiration for someone. Yeah, for sure. For sure. Infatuated for sure. Ryan Grimm is definitely infatuated with Graham Plattner. All right. The long and the short of it. Plattner, a military veteran who served 4 overseas tours straight out of high school, was revealed to have made several controversial comments online, specifically on Reddit, the zombie graveyard of bad opinions that never disappear. I like that. Well, I will say though, it wasn't straight out of high school, and I include this in the video. It's not straight out of high school. He spent some time in the Appalachian Mountains. Oh, that's why I got my warning, because I made fun of. Because they say that in the Appalachian Mountains that the wind talks, like it will call you, it will call your name or whatever the fuck. And I just suggested that the wind said some really America first, no, not America first, American exceptionalism. Go get them terrorist. Sweet nothings into Graham Plattner's ear. Let's go. To be fair to him, some of the comments labeled controversial are the sort that warm leftist hearts. He declared himself a communist, walked that back, and said that cops are opportunistic cowards. Walked it back. And again, I'm going to include this in the video. The fucking Bundy family was doing that shit during BLM. It's so fucking annoying because do you understand the whole fucking don't tread on me? When it's not about black people, when it's not about immigrants, they fucking hate cops. That is part of their culture. It changes depending on the administration for sure. They'll be like, we're on the same side, right? But part of the whole like militia movement post Vietnam in the creation of the ATF was in opposition to cops by the white settlers. So that's not unique. That's so fucking frustrating, bro. Like to claim to claim that you don't know what a Totenkopf symbol is. It's already preposterous. I was rewatching Hellboy. I've been on a Guillermo del Toro fucking binge. I was rewatching Hellboy. And I'm like, the Totenkopf is like right there on the fucking and I'm like, all right, whatever, bro. Anywho, to not understand the history of white supremacist anti-government militias in the United States by the so-called independent left is complete fucking utter bullshit. And it just highlights their complicity and normalization of white supremacy. But other posts include suggestions that women who feared being raped needed to just take some responsibility for themselves and not get so fucked up they wind up having sex with someone they don't mean to, and asking why black people don't tip. I was talking to an older gentleman that I work with, and super laid back, chill dude. And he's like, "Oh, I haven't seen you. What have you been up to this and that? We're just catching up." And I was telling him about the Grand Planner video, and I told him about the tattoo. Nobody's ever really surprised about this tattoo, but it's so fucking funny that the first person I told was like a younger brown dude, apolitical, and this gentleman's an older, again, apolitical black man. But the moment that I say, "Oh, but he covered it up with a Celtic tattoo," they both started laughing. They immediately were like, "Oh, fuck off," kind of thing. And I'm like, yeah, okay, cool. Like I'm not, out of my head. And then I mentioned the tipping thing, and he's like, "Oh, I hate that. That's always been a thing. I never understood it. I always tip this and that." And I was like, sometimes it really feels like they're trying to trick us to get us to tip more. And he laughed. He goes, "I never thought about it that way." I'm like, I don't know. It feels like, they always want more from us. And their shitty fucking service that they provide, they want to be rewarded for. I'm like, you're already fucking anti-black. You're already fucking anti-brown, anti-immigrant, xenophobic. Because if you weren't, this wouldn't fucking be crossing your mind like that. Are you keeping track to what degree your white patrons are tipping you? Like, "Oh yeah, he tipped me because he was white, but I think he was a Welsh. And that's why you only tip me like 5% instead of 15%. Oh, no, yeah, they're white, but they're Irish whites. So like, you're gonna get like maybe 2%, or they'll tell you to keep the change." Or are you doing that? Of course not. Of course they're not fucking doing that shit. But people like Bad Empanada, Hassan Piker, will will downplay the anti-blackness to just and The Washington Post report on this matter was followed by a controversy over a tattoo on his chest, which turned out to be a Nazi symbol and not just Nazi adjacent, or a kind of sort of maybe what I am actually seeing here. Nazi symbol, or a Hindu swastika that routinely gets misread as a Nazi symbol, but an actual Totenkopf, the death head that was famously emblazoned on the hats of the SS officers. Sorry, I got to this well. I hear you. Come on. All right. Where are we at? Platner's claim is that he got a tattoo in 2007 when he was on a tour in Croatia on a very drunken night that fellow Marines with fellow Marines and did not know about its connection to Nazism until just recently. But Jewish Insider has already refuted that story and shown that he has always known the specific name from the symbol, jokingly referring to it as my Totenkopf as far back as 2012. Now Emma Vigeland had a huge fucking I'm sick of the left falling for this Jewish Insider that has no source, doesn't name a source, this and that. We have to understand that Zionists are against Grand Planner because he spoke out against the genocide of Palestinians, all this shit, right? You don't even have to reference Jewish Insider. You just look at Grand Planner's Reddit history that they deleted on purpose. And he talks about white supremacist symbols within the US military and he's excusing them. There's no fucking way that somebody on Reddit, somebody defending some white supremacist symbols, like the Thunderbolts, also the part of the SS, wouldn't fucking know what a Totenkopf is. It is so fucking stupid. It is so fucking stupid. And it just goes to show that these people are absolutely in bad faith, that they are absolutely compromised, and that their allegiance is always to whiteness and the Democratic Party. Always, always. I actually do like this. That's cool. Should I get one like this? It's a little tacky, but I like it. I like the pink. Let's see here. Arutu, some of my comments aren't showing up. I have the live chat on, so it's just probably YouTube. More recently, The Advocate has reported that Plattner used homophobic language and rhetoric that mocked or demeaned LGBTQ plus people and appeared to use slurs casually in discussions unrelated to sexuality. In others, he explicitly framed gay people as the punchline. The examples given don't indicate an explicit hatred for queer people. There is nothing so far to indicate that Plattner would be a gay basher or thinks LGBTQ people don't deserve rights. They are more indicative of the unfortunately pervasive casual homophobia that infuses straight people's everyday language, especially when they are surrounded mostly or entirely by other straight people, and Plattner appears to be fairly typical clueless jock dude who probably also thinks that tattoos anywhere of any kind are a turn on. Okay. If I close my eyes and concentrate, I can even imagine his pickup lines at the bar, nearly all of them involving letting a woman know that he was in Iraq. The other part was a little, but that for sure, bro. With the amount of times that he goes, I'm Grant Plattner, and I serve 4 tours, and I'm not afraid to name the enemy. For sure was part of his pickup line. For sure was part of it. There's a reason, a very unfiltered macho one, why he has that tattoo in exactly that location. Thank you. Yes. I have a little bit in the video about that. Let's see here. Wait. Certainly, homophobic language can become a way to justify violence or accompanying it. But Plattner seems less a homophobe and more of an asshole who can't keep his story straight. He has tried to brush off his homophobic and other problematic posts by claiming they were from some distant past when he was just a wee and silly lad. But many of these were in fact from 2021 when he was 37, 4 years ago. The perpetual infantilization of white men is utterly pathetic and disgusting, and they should never be taken fucking serious. And the white women that defend them, that raise them, that protect them, that, use their white tears to vilify brown and black men over white men, utter fucking disgusting. Todas las vendidas that have themselves a white man and do the exact same thing and allow them to use their brownness and blackness to excuse their racism and their misogyny. Hasta peor. Because they'll replace her ass in no fucking time. Asian women, I expect nothing like. No, I'm just kidding. I was watching this. I saw this fucking. Do I have it? Hold on. I think because of what's that? You Elliot. I think because of Elliot, we're gonna increase Asian hate. No, I'm just kidding. I'm totally kidding. Because of Elliot, we gotta let them know that look, straight up, the white Asian community, the Japanese, Korean, as we saw with Bobby Lee, but the some of the most racist, classist fucking people that I've had the unfortunate that I've shared proximity with, unfortunately. But I think it's just all like an attempt to align with whiteness, because they're so close. They're right there. You can smell it. Where is it? Oh, this shit, bro. Yeah, I'll have to hear this, bro. Look at this. Fucking pathetic, bro. Oh, hold on. Here it is.
Are you dating a white man?
A white man? Wait, you're
Well,
dating a white man
laughter.
too.
Well, I want to know your answer first.
I started with Asian,
Okay, me too.
and then it was black.
Oh, hell yeah.
I was like, if I go black, I can't go back. Like, I literally thought that. I was like, oh, I can't go back. So I literally dated multiple black men, but I didn't it wasn't long term. It was like just for fun. And
Hey,
then,
you were out there breaking all these black men's heart.
And then after that, I was like, you know what? I should try something different. It was like Asian, black, and then it was Hispanic.
Oh, okay.
And then after that, I was like, that's when I was like on Bumble and like Tinder and all that stuff. Then it was like a white man.
Wow.
And then it's been a white man.
It's been a white man.
Yeah.
So a white man's the keeper.
No, I don't know what it is about him.
I'm like making this a joke, but obviously it's because his personality, not the fact that he's white.
White, yeah, right.
Yeah, but of
What about
course,
you?
it's because he's white. No.
Of course.
So you need to take a shower after that. Too common among the Asian community. Too fucking common, bro. But here is the other aspect of it. Notice how they talk about all the racists, but they go out of their way to talk about how when it came to black people,
I voted for Kamala Harris. You got
April super
problems?
chat, that when it came to black men specifically, it was just for fun. Meaning, unlike Asian men, unlike, I don't know, they said Hispanic or Latinos, there's potential for it to be serious. But when it came to black men, nah, that was just for fun. You gotta listen to what they're actually saying, because they're not smart enough to hide it. We've just been taught to ignore it. Access Audio, thank you so much for the super chat. Yasmin Nair had a discussion on her Plattner article when Brianna, on bad faith. Yeah, that's why we're covering it. I really, to be honest, I wish that I covered more videos. Again, because it would make it easier. It's more entertaining, I think. It's to sit back and have a good time. I like reading these articles. So I'll watch these videos on my own, and then I'll just start I'm like, no, I want to read these articles. I don't know why not. That's fun. I like reading. I like trying to read. And yeah, maybe Friday, if we go through enough articles today, maybe Friday we'll watch it. But yeah, just so fucking gross, bro.
Yeah.
I was like, if I go black, I can't go back. Like, I literally thought that. I was like, oh, I can't go back. So I literally dated.
I didn't even notice the high five.
With Asian,
Okay, me too.
and then it was black.
Oh, hell yeah.
Fuck yeah. man, and like I don't say this to try to kiss ass to the black community. I really don't. But I'm also not trying to be was it not paternalistic but patronizing. I'm not. For every other race to sexualize you to that degree, to be anti-black while dating you, like to me that's just like really, really heartbreaking. To be used like that as a status symbol, as a ooh, like, oh, you got yourself a black man, like, oh, how is it, and immediately the the fetishization of it. What do they mean by how is it? The stereotype that black men have large penises. That's the dehumanization of it all. And look, the reason why I'm saying I'm not trying to be I keep forgetting the word I just used, like patronizing. The reality is, it's I've had these conversations a lot. Black men that I've spoken with don't give a fuck. They're like, who gives a shit, bro? I'm getting what I want to get. And that, honestly, as look, I'm fucking soy perro, I'm trash, whatever. I get that aspect of it. I do. I truly don't understand it to that degree. But what I'm talking about is in terms of relationships and trying to find a romantic partner, right? They're talking about dating. They're not talking about hooking up with. They're talking about dating. And so to date somebody who is pretending to be loving to you, cuddling with you, cute, all this shit, holding hands with you, all this stuff, but fundamentally dehumanizes you. And this is how they refer to you. It's just so fucking sick. And Latinas do this. I've been in rooms where they're having these types of conversations. And so the constant cross-cultural fetishization of black men, specifically of black men, because of the physical stereotypes related to large penis. But also, yes, the cultural currency of like, of the culture, black culture, of having access to black culture, right? Being able to get away with using AAVE, being able to get away with dressing a certain way, or styling your hair a certain way, all these things like that. The access to black culture that is granted to you by your relationship with them, right? And again, I'm not trying to get on this Dr. Umar shit. I'm really not. As funny as it can be, and I'm pretty sure I could really fucking crack some jokes with it. But honestly, it's kind of like the reason why it's always been like something that has always kind of moved me is because dating and trusting people and allowing yourself to be loved and to fall in love has always been something difficult for me, because I'm just naturally distrustful of people. And a lot of it is for sure fucking insecurities of like, why the fuck would you be interested in me, right? But a lot of that is just, your own bullshit, your own insecurities, childhood trauma, unprocessed things that you haven't worked on. But to know that it's real, to know that this is a reality, for that to be confirmed time and time again by the women outside of your community, to me, that is tragic and it is heartbreaking. And again, I'm not trying to be patronizing. I'm not. It's just kind of like, you know, your fears confirmed that like, oh shit, like she didn't really love me. It was just, I was just an aesthetic to her, to them. Because white gay men do the same fucking thing. Non-black gay men do the same thing to black men. In fact, maybe even worse. I don't know. Maybe even worse because of the way that the non-black queer community just steals every fucking single thing from the black community. Everything. It is. When we're talking about culture vultures, holy fucking shit, bro. I thought the brown community was bad. I thought white people in general were bad. But the queer community, call me out all you fucking want. I'm down to have that debate. That the queer community, the non-black queer community is the most culture vulture community. Call me out. I'm down. I will debate you on that one straight up. It's just, yeah. And they think they get a pass because they're queer. It's weird as fuck. It really is. I mean, you see it with fucking Billie Eilish. Look how Billie Eilish was dressing before and after, you know, she came out. But again, maybe I'm just trying to point the finger somewhere else. But again, the joke of like, what is it? Like a white guy, an Asian guy, and a brown guy, like a Latino, walk into a bar. Who says the N-word first? That one I will say is competitive, right? But the non-black queer community, as culture vultures, I don't know. I don't know if it's competitive. I think they got the easy, enough lead for an easy win. So, but correct me if I'm wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, the high five is just really fucking gross. The high five is real, and I don't know why I didn't notice it, maybe because I wasn't really paying attention to it, like that.
Oh hell yeah!
Fuck yeah! Like it just doesn't make any sense. Like I don't understand it. Because you're saying you don't date them anymore. Like you're sticking with white men, which do your fucking thing. Believe me, like vendidas like this and vendidos and all in between. We want you out of our fucking communities and go fucking wash a white man's feet. You know? You know, fucking Zach's girlfriend. Do your thing, homegirl. You know what I mean? From the Vanguard. The further the better from us. But it's just fucking weird to me. Someone in the chat, please tell me what they're high-fiving for. Educate me. Enlighten me. Help me sleep at night and to understand why they're high-fiving. When they're like, this would make sense to me if they're like, oh no, we started dating black men and like we build families with them, we have kids with them, we're raising black, Asian children, whatever, right? Fuck yeah, high five. Combating anti-blackness through love or whatever. I don't know, you know, again, I don't know. But explain to me why they're high-fiving and they said, yeah, we dated them. We stopped dating them because we were trying to get serious. It was no longer just having fun. We're getting older. We need to get serious. And we decided to settle down with white men. Why would you high-five each other about having dated black men? Can somebody please explain that to me? I can't even begin to understand what is happening here. I don't think we have. Do we have Asian people in the chat? Hirotsu, I don't know. I can't assume you're Asian just because of the username. These are Asian women trying to integrate into whiteness. It's competitive, y'all. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's competitive. And again, this is not to say that like Latinos don't fetishize black men. No. Shitty Matcha, High-fiving, fetishizing, or the fetishization of black men. Ironic because East Asian women are a fetish for a white man. One would think they'd understand that. Yeah. Well, I don't know if yeah. Martin, a high five as if they won a trophy or something. Yeah. Yep. So okay. Salvation here. All right. All right, Zane. Dope. Yeah. Oh shit. Hard-worded one. They're trying to celebrate what they think is regressive to their tiger moms. I know this world. Fuck. Oh, so it's like a act of rebellion. Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, Latinas definitely do it. For sure. Okay, so we do. We got. That's cool. That's cool. Well, if for those of you that are Asian or any like whatever degree, please don't hesitate to put me on and educate me. Put me on to, other content creators or outlets that can educate me on whatever blind spots I might have. But yeah. Yo, Yipper. Fuck. We gotta move on because it's just, man. Yipper said, high five because they went there, conquered, and survived. While laughing at that, yeah. Yeah. So I will say this, Tute. Yeah, it's the same with white women and Latinas or Latin women trope who go against their racist fathers. My issue with this whole idea of like going against like the parental wishes, because it's the mothers too. Don't look. Don't. The whole family is racist. It's anti-black. The whole issue with that is that these same women are racist themselves, and they use dating black men as a cover for their anti-black, to not challenge their own anti-blackness. Yeah, for sure. Shitty Matcha putting the snow bunny emoji. No, I'm kidding. You go on with this topic. Yeah, this is a dangerous one. But also the other aspect of it is that I don't think black women are fetishized to that degree. I'm not trying to get all fucking, Dr. Tommy Curry over here or anything like that. As much as I appreciate his work, like light-skinned black women definitely, mixed black women definitely get fetishized. But I think across the board, black men I'm not gonna say regardless of their skin color, because colorism is always a thing. But just them being black is the attraction, right? Again, the cultural currency of being with a black man is sufficient. When it comes to black women, I think the colorism is more of a concern strictly regarding dating and the cultural currency. Yeah, no, Luna Oi. I have their translated Vietnamese communist textbook that I actually need to get through. But it actually is a textbook. Like it's not like a hey, like flip through the chapters. No, it's like a textbook. Yep. But in their hearts, their black partners are still below them and still still an accessory an object and not an actual human being. And you know, that I agree with, and that's what I'm saying. Like, it is kind of heartbreaking to be like, to build a family and a life with, and love somebody so fully, and them still be fucking racist. It's a reason why, like, I you know, we joke around a lot, but like, I don't date white women. I don't even like, even if we're not talking about dating, because I don't like to be used. Yeah, and Luna always been around for a cool minute too. But then literally American Johnson, right? Luna Oi has a white man. But I will say this, I think, and if you see them interact, I've seen enough of their work where, like, I think you tell when it's different. I think you tell when there's a sincere, all right, Horotsu, we get it. We get it. Especially when people have that much of common, like, interest. That is, I think that's a different, that's what I'm saying. I'm not trying to get Dr. Umar here. We're like, never this, never that. No. When it's genuine, it's different. But when your partner is like the reason why I brought up Zach from the Vanguard and his partner is from the Philippines, or her family is because he has said, like, pro colonizer, Zionist, and pro fucking white supremacist shit before, right? Downplaying Kyle KKK Kalinski's comments, his racist comments, is supporting white supremacy. No, you're good, Hirota. I just pictured you be like, no, wait. American Johnson's white. But they have a genuine, like, foundational shared interest in their relationship, which I think is the distinction here, right? It's not just fetishization of, like, culture, identity, and race. Give me one sec. Sorry, he's a little restless because it's been raining, and so he's been in the house, and then so whenever he needs to go outside and pee or whatever, like, he knows that he needs to shake because his collar will make a noise, and that's how, if I'm in the room, that's he'll get my attention. And because he's been kind of cooped up because it's been raining all fucking day over here, which I fucking love, especially when I'm out at work. I'm kind of more vigilant about when he needs to use the bathroom because I'm kind of like, sometimes he'll be curled up in his little bed and he won't want to get up, even if he needs to use the bathroom. I've noticed this because he's like so comfortable. I'm like, I feel you, bro. I've been there, you know, when your bladder fucking beats out your coziness. So a couple of times I forced him, like, come on, get up, we gotta go outside because it's stopped raining or whatever. You know, like, huskies will always fucking curse you out, or side-eye you or some shit, and they'll cut out, and he'll need to pee. Like, he's actually, like, peeing in a good amount, and then he'll come back in. And I'm like, why would you not? Anyway, I think we could all relate. Okay. How did we get there? I don't know. You know what? Oh shit, man. Sorry, I need a second. Like, and then I had a dream and Ryan Grimm was in it. I think they're called, like, American Huskies. He's a mutt. I don't think they're recognized by the Dog Association or whatever. Let's see. Okay, here's what he's so lucky he did not have blue eyes. He's so lucky he did not have blue eyes. If this motherfucker would have had blue eyes, he would have stayed in my cousin's fucking. Yeah, so it's kind of like this coat. It's this coat. He would have stayed in that beatdown backyard. They scare the fuck out of me when they have blue eyes. They look like fuck, like, and this was before Game of Thrones. but they look like those fucking those walkers. What are they called in Game of Thrones? Maybe I could do like the David Bowie thing, the different colored ones, but I can't like they're too aware to have those soulless eyes. Yeah, it looks just like this actually. This is pretty accurate, just with more color here in this and those. And he has brown eyes. Yeah. But I read supposedly that they're that whatever breed he is, yeah, it looks just like this actually. Just like this. That they're not recognized because they're I don't know, something. They're not pure enough, brother. All right. This I think we'll go over tomorrow. Where are we at? Her evil eye. Yeah, that's how white people spy on us. through blue-eyed huskies. They use the orb like Lord of the Rings. What are they? What is that shit called? It's just an orb? No. Oh, the Planeteer. That's why planet. Yeah, but it's like a husky's blue eye. That's how they spy on us. That's why Planeteer is called that. Because of this shit. Fucking dweebs ruin everything, bro. Yeah, there's the pigeon conspiracy. Yeah. I have Zohran. Yeah. Yeah, but Mamdani was just a 37-year-old boy. What white man hasn't been 37? And a boy. A helpless boy. The posts don't confirm that he is a raging homophobe, but they do indicate that he is an immature, juvenile, straight man. In other words, a very typical straight man. The kind who never grow up and away from their high school bullying days when they called every kid they didn't like a tight. It's on the paper. I gotta say it. I gotta say it. No, I have not said it in so long, but I have been called it. Whenever I annoy one of my coworkers, who happens to be bi, and it's always kind of like it's used. I want to say very tastefully, and it's not overdone, so that when they do get frustrated with me and then call me that, it does. I can admit that it does bring me back to like the high school, well, more middle school days, to be honest with you, of using it, and it does kind of always gets a chuckle out of me. I can't lie. I'm not gonna pretend to be advanced in any way. But they're always very tactically used, tactful and tactfully. Also, they made one of the best fucking one of the best fucking jokes to look. If you work around brown people, brown men specifically, it is like ultra fucking like homoerotic. It's just, I don't give a fuck what the occupation is. We could be talking fucking the most 16-hour daily shift, working in 110-degree weather, working in fucking snow, hardened construction workers, and it would be the most like just homoerotically charged workplace you will ever be in. It could be a fucking warehouse. Literally wherever we're at, if we're majority men, brown men, it's gonna happen. I don't know that we didn't get, the Spanish didn't do a good enough job in Catholicizing us or whatever the fuck. So anywho, so they were able to pull off one of one of these best, like, just clean jokes to one of the few brown dudes there that work with us who doesn't really engage in that. I'm not talking about engaging in like homophobic jokes. I'm talking about engaging in homoerotic jokes. This is reality, right? I'm not saying anything new or I'm not enlightening anyone. It's just, believe me. If you've seen it, you've been in it, you know. And, you know, all my sympathies and considerations to, from what I've seen, what I experienced, black men really don't fuck around like that at all. They will laugh at us being stupid as fuck. And that's why I have, you know, special appreciation when there's like Afro Latinos that will fucking joke around with us. But then it is difficult for them navigating that kind of I guess that judgment, because we don't judge it. We know we're all joking around here and it's inappropriate joking, but you know, we're joking around. But I have seen situations where Afro Latino men that grew up with enough of that Latin culture to know how we stupidly play around, having to kind of like code switch or kind of like defend their masculinity that we never question when we joke around this way, because we don't take it serious, to black men. And that always gets a little tensed. Whenever anyone's masculinity gets threatened, always gets a little tense. And because we're brown, we kind of have to like just kind of like, oh, let it play out. Like, oh, fuck, man. And you never want to put, and that's why you start becoming conscious of being like, all right, I can't joke around with this for like this if non-Afro Latinos that are, you know, just black men are there, to not put them on the spot and not cause any friction. It's kind of actually, yeah, I never thought about it too much. I just kind of just become aware of it and to not try embarrass anyone or put them in the spot. But yeah. Está difícil. Sounds difficult. Oh yeah. The work boyfriend is bro. It's just, and it's fun. I don't even know. That's a whole other conversation, man. I'll make that video when like it's gonna, you know what's gonna end up happening if I make that video? It's gonna be like when actually I don't know if I want to make that joke, but I'll make the joke in this way. It's gonna be like when supposedly the Mexican gangs went after James Edwards almost for making American Me. If I make a video talking about what would I title it? Like, why brown men have work wives in all male occupations, you know? But then also my sympathies to you know, las señoras who work las loncheras, because then all the testosterone and all that shit just pours out. Yeah, it just, all the misogyny and the machismo just pours out. Avis. Yes, OMG, I'm gay, and I give you my full blessings for that video. I want you in our business. Call these men out. But a lot of them aren't. The thing is, like, it just would be, man, how do you, there was this joke in Archer, one of the earlier seasons of Archer, where, again, super colonial joke, but he gets stranded on an island and he ends up hooking up with the indigenous people of the island. And obviously Oscar, and you can hear him saying like, oh my God, what are you doing? It's like, oh, like clearly the conquistadors never made it here or whatever, right? Insinuating that it's something hypersexual, if not even, because there's an article I remember reading in a Central American course about the buttocks, and I had to be careful what I say, but things related to the buttocks in Apocalypto, of why so many shots are kind of hyper focused on the gluteus maximus and the Christian European discomfort with the reality that the male G spot is allegedly, you know, you get me. I gotta be YouTube friendly. So if I were to really make that video, I think you know me, I had to deep dive into no pun intended into these type of topics. But I can't disassociate that from colonization and Catholicism and the willingness to pursue sexual consensual pleasures without the concepts of homophobia stigmatizing that. And I really can't. It's sad to me because some of these men who engage in this kind of workplace homoerotic horsing around, or however you want to, inappropriate, whatever you want to say, you know, that we do. Some of them are some of the most homophobic people you can meet, and they'll disown their children for being gay. I think that's changing. I hope that it is. But I mean, that is a heavy fucking topic, but I'm glad I have your blessing. Yeah, well, you know, it just, you know, we get a little bit of everything. I don't know. I got into that. I mean, we're talking about masculinity, right? David Barnes, maybe a video about black men in Hispanic spaces. I would white and I work. I don't know. I don't really want to talk about white people. Not allegedly. Espiritu said, can't confirm. I don't know, because I'm still technically have a warning, so I'm trying to be like, from what I heard, what the streets say. Tute, I passed a construction worker once and just straight up saw a hand to butt. What? I said, now wait a minute. I don't think this is what they meant when they said hammer that. Oh my God. It's too much, bro. Should I pull up? Can I pull up these videos? Hold on. There's a fucking hilarious TikTok. I think, see if I can find it. Let's see. Latin construction workers. No, not Latina, Latino. Not Latina lunch lady. Yeah, no, I'm just getting a bunch of like Sancha stuff, side chick stuff. But yeah, like, man, it's not just construction sites though, but it is always funnier seeing that what is perceived to be contradiction. All right, let's get back to it. I mean, technically it's about masculinity, so we're kind of still on topic. So appreciate y'all. Emblem Fate, Deculturation. Do you think Kirk rolling in his grave because Nikki went on to his clan rally? I'd imagine any black person, even a sellout, would make him uncomfortable. No. Candace Owens was his best friend. Candace Owens was his best friend. His favorite like artist was Kanye West. And this is even before Kanye West started on his whole white supremacist arc. No, Charlie Kirk is very happy that Nicki Minaj is selling her image to the Republican Party. And that's not even, I mean, you could say that's the worst part. The worst part is the reason she's doing it is to protect her predator ass husband. That's the reason she's doing it. To protect her predator ass husband. Like convicted ass predator. That's why she's doing it. I think she's doing it to try and get that shit like absolved from his record. It's fucking disgusting. Let me see if I can find this real quick. It is because there's a video where she's talking shit about Melania. Let me see if I can find it. Somebody put like there's always receipts. And it was Nicki at a concert talking shit about Melania, but I don't know if I'm gonna find it. I need to like clean up my Twitter because my likes are just like the dumbest shit imaginable. Mainly fucking street fights. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm a barbarian. There's something wrong with me because one, I would never engage in a street fight unless it's for self-defense. Because the sound of a skull free falling and bouncing off concrete unfortunately, because I'm sick in the fucking head, will forever cause me to giggle and force me to immediately replay it. But it's the exact reason why I will always 100% walk away from a street fight, because I don't care how good you are. Your skull versus the pavement is always going to result in one thing. Your skull versus the pavement only has one fucking conclusion. And I want no part of that. I've been collecting CT for far too long. Let's see here. Oh, what the fuck was that? To engage in that, but I do really appreciate watching a good street fight. Receipt, I guess. So Melania, there's actual cooking stuff. That's funny. How do you spell Melania Trump? And we need to get back to this. Oh shit, it's already one. Oh, it's literally how it sounds. Melania. I don't know these Eastern European names. Okay, here it is. Let me share this via. And then we get back to the Grand Platinum video, okay? So thank you everyone for it. Oh, it's her brother? Chidi Macha, no, I think it's her brother she's doing it for. Wasn't her brother convicted of being, of an 11-year-old? Her hubby's just a general sex offender. Oh, fucking shit. Oh my god. No, you're thinking about the other predator she's protecting. That's fucking gross, man. Fucking disgusting. And look, there's never an excuse for it, but there's always like, you are like one of the most, and definitely at a moment in time, the most, I don't know, Beyonce's always been around though, but arguably, top 3 most famous Black female entertainer in the world. I don't think you can argue that Nicki was that at one point. I mean, it felt like she was like the only female like MC for like a decade, right? And it was unfortunate, just focusing on the music. It was unfortunate that she wasn't more willing to work alongside with the new female talent that was, I think, allowed to come out and platformed, because she did have so much of her own time for so long. And I'm not trying to dismiss, you know, other. I just felt like she was in her own fucking like atmosphere for so long, and maybe it was just my ignorance. But to be that famous, to be that successful, and to still decide to associate with, I mean, cut your family off. You know what I mean? Or but at the end of the day, like, why would you choose that as your partner, as your husband? It is fucking gross. No, it was fortunate that she didn't. I mean, yeah, knowing what we know now, Lynn Stagg, or you know, I'm saying if just artistically speaking, I guess. Yeah.
And get your motherfucking feelings hurt. But it's old motherfucking K. Cause Barack needed a Michelle, bitch. And Bill needed a motherfucking Hillary, bitch. You better pray to God you don't get stuck with a motherfucking Melania. You niggas want brainless bitches to stroke your motherfucking ego? Well, fuck you, nigga.
Bro, the cultural impact that she had. The cultural impact that she had. Like, just the way that she was moving right now. And mind you, basically 99.9 fucking percent brown school that I went to. The movement, the delivery, crazy. That's wild. It was wild. That's it threw me back in time real quick. But it just shows the opportunism of it all, right? But I just felt like she just, I mean, that her and Wayne were everywhere, and were like, they were just, and again, educate me, but, and I was into rock and roll, right? But it just felt like hip hop for like the decade was just Nicki and Lil Wayne. It just felt that way. And I'm not saying there weren't other names or bigger names, but just felt that way. Oh yeah, that Linsack for sure. Now that it's safe to hate, I mean, it's not safe with all the barbs. I'll be honest with you. Till this day, you see them. How you can defend or associate or glorify somebody who's protecting predators is just fucking beyond me. Linsack, now that it's safe to hate, let's not act like she wasn't copying Little Kim's homework the whole time. Yeah, no, 100%. But I feel like most artists kind of like, I feel like that's part of the artistic development of any genre. And when we're talking about, you know, women in general too, because the same opportunities aren't afforded to them, I think it becomes more obvious because there's less opportunity for different type of like characters and personalities and approaches to it to really see a distinction be embraced and rewarded, especially when we're talking about Black artists. I could be wrong. I do kind of think of it also like in the MMA sense of where women's mixed martial arts was so neglected for so long that, you know, a lot of men complain about, oh, women fighting this and that. But that same attitude is a reason why it doesn't get the attention it deserves and why it kind of has lagged behind men's mixed martial arts. There's just the funding and attention and willingness to compete in it because of the stigma around it isn't the same, is what holds it back. Which is unfortunate, but at the same time, what gets amplified in women's mixed martial arts is what is appealing to men. And so that's why Ronda Rousey at 135 was the first woman to be brought into the UFC because of her appeal to the male gaze, right? Whereas in reality, the women's divisions that you really wanted was 115 and 105. And shout out to Invicta. I don't know if they're still around. I don't think they are. Invicta was really holding it down for women's mixed martial arts. Like every Invicta vet was an absolute fucking banger. The early ones. But anywho, to this day, one of my favorite mixed martial arts matches is Michelle Watterson versus Joanna broke her nose. Michelle Watterson versus Jessica Pena. Don't call me a fucking poser, bro. Michelle Watterson versus Jessica Pena. Watch that live. For the Invicta atomweight title, some of the best grappling transitions in MMA overall. A lot of fun. Great scrambles, great reversals, just an amazing fight. And a lot of women were forced to fight and compete in not their optimal weight classes to make it to the UFC. And the UFC just funneled all the talent from Invicta. Anywho, all right, let's get back to it. My bad. My apologies. All right, let's get back to it. 3 hours in. We got 1 more hour. And I need to knock out 2 articles after this. All right. Yeah, it's almost like you can't like really escape certain character archetypes in like literature, right? And it kind of feels like in certain genres you really can't escape certain, I don't know. Yeah. Like for me, like everyone wants to be Michael Jackson. The Weeknd wants to be Michael Jackson. Bruno Mars wanted to be Michael Jackson. Justin Timberlake wanted to be Michael Jackson. The Chris Brown wanted to be Michael Jackson. I just feel like some figures are just too large for you not to be. Their influence is too grand for you not to copy that homework. And no one will ever. It is, yeah, man. It literally cannot happen again because of mass media. He has catchy songs, but I was never able to get into it because it was just he wasn't saying anything. It's like I try to get into what's this dude's name? What the fuck? What's his name? What is his bro? What the fuck? He does all those tracks with Metro. Why the fuck am I? Future. God damn, bro. That was bad. I tried to get into Future a couple of times. It's difficult for me. I was gonna make a joke, but I don't know enough about his personal life to be safe with that one. But I was gonna be like, I want to support somebody who's been heartbroken so much. You know, this women have hurt him so much. Again, I don't know much about his personal life. I'm just saying his music. Excuse me, I hate slurping on the mic. All right. Let's hear. Haha, Lens Stack. That's what I'm saying. I haven't been able to. Culture 88, you're not blocked. You're in the chat. All right, let's get to it. Plattner is beloved amongst a certain lefty crowd, led by the likes of Sanders. Given the state of the world, literally anything could happen between now and June 2026. That's another frustrating part of making this video. When he may be up against Collins, so who knows? He has covered up the offending tattoo, claiming that it is too difficult to get it completely removed in rural Maine, where he lives. Rural. Fucking hate that word now, bro. Rural is another fucking dog whistle. I don't care. Add it to the fucking list. Rural. Especially the way fucking rad libs use it. And they fucking hate like poor white people anyways. Like they despise them. They feel like they're making them look bad. The result is extremely odd. AP News described it delicately as a Celtic knot in a dog-like creature, but it really just looked like the creature in John Carpenter's The Thing. That is actually quite accurate. What the fuck? In that moment, when the creature has just swallowed up the dogs and transmuted into all of them in a bloody, horrible mess. If you haven't seen, is it called Together? Or what is that horror movie? If you haven't seen Together, it's a great body horror. It is a great body horror movie. And they're actually married in real life, so I feel like the chemistry was a lot more noticeable. Although I don't think either one of them are exceptional actors. I think the horror genre allowed them to excel. But this was a very, very, very I was pleasantly surprised with this movie. Okay, well, I'm hoping that's a good thing though, because not that it was a bad movie. Speedy 2. Dama, what did you threw it away? What'd you throw away? Carnazzo looking for lights. Erica's way more white nationalist than Charlie Kirk, in my opinion. LOL. I'm surprised she shared the stage with her. You know, when white women are really about white supremacy, they always outdo the men, for sure. Because for men, a lot of it's so performative in terms of their masculinity, right? Whereas white women are like really fucking like, no, they truly in their bones believe like they're different races. No, Yipper, and I've talked about this before. I really do feel like almost any other genre, like doesn't matter who writes, but hip hop has always held a special place in the musical arts because it rewards your penmanship. And so early on, when it was rumored that Drake didn't write his own songs, I was already out. I was ready, and I've always been a fucking snob. I was like, you have to say something intellectual or profound about society and culture for me to take you seriously as an artist. Like I've always been that fucking unbearable person. All right. Except the Carter 3 is, but then even that, arguably, the song about Dr. Wayne saving hip hop is anywho. All right. Exactly. Yes. Ghost Riders was like, and again, I was mainly in the rock genre to begin with. I don't think it could be understated the impact that Walk This Way, Run DMC, and Aerosmith had, because I'm pretty sure that's one of the early ways that I kind of got into hip hop as well, because I really liked Aerosmith. Wake up, kid! It's half past noon. Ain't nothing really changed but the date. You're a grand slammer, but you're no Babe Ruth. You gotta learn how to relate. I've been talking to the pearly gates. Let's see. I had a huge Aerosmith phase. What song is this though? Oh, it's the intro. Yeah, it's the intro to this. So fucking good. Wake up, kid. It's past. Oh, the youth. Ain't nothing really changed but the date. You're a grand slammer, but you're no Babe Ruth. You gotta learn how to relate, or you'll be swinging from the pearly gates. Now you got all the answers, lo, and behold, you got the right key, baby, but the wrong key. Ho, yo, so good. You can't kill me because a rabbit doesn't die. One of my favorite lines as well. I was really into Aerosmith for a while. All right. And you can still see two tiny bits from the old tattoo poking out at the bottom, so it doesn't seem like there was a great deal of effort to put into the erasure. There are lessons from this whole murky set of circumstances. The first is that Plattner is getting the kind of second and third chances that no... Fuck Bad Empanada. Like, fuck that fucking weirdo. That fool's weird, bro. And if you're from out here, you know we save that one for the special people. There are lessons from this whole murky set of circumstances. The first is that Plattner is getting the kind of second and third chances that no black candidate could get. Sanders has jumped into the fray with a statement of support saying that the ex-military man went through a very dark period of his life. He went on to point out that Plattner served for 4 tours of duty with the United States military. He was in the middle of some heavy duty combat. He was a machine gunner. He mowed down people, you know? He went through some very difficult experiences in the military as a machine gunner, seeing his friends killed, came out of the military. He will acknowledge he had PTSD. Bro signed up to be a gunner time and time again. He loved that shit. Imagine a black military veteran with a similar story, similar tattoo, and well, I assume none of us can because only white men get to go on multiple tours of Iraq where they, to quote the leading lefty politician of our time, mow down people and still somehow emerge as penitent heroes. Jamal Bowman got more flack for his accidental use of a firearm, for instance. It's 2025. Can we stop this? Now, again, the Jamal Bowman defense is kind of funny because, let me see here. I took a photo of this, but I don't know if it's real. Let me see. Jamal Bowman. Here we go. It was hard to find confirmation on this because it's a comment on Instagram. And the only people covering it were like Zionist outlets. So let me see if I can find it real quick. I'm not a big gamer. But they just dropped Batman Beyond skins for Fortnite. And I almost jumped on it. One of the best fucking intros to any like cartoon. I was gonna say anime, but cartoon. Batman Beyond Joker Returns is one of the best fucking animated movies. Here we go. So Jamal Bowman posted this underneath a video of our primo Nick Fuentes. Finally getting it, Nick. Now go a step further. This is the same playbook they use to divide and conquer us based on race to maintain their oligarchy. It is us against the oligarchy. Now no more racist bullshit from you. Jamal Bowman's about to join Revolutionary Sellout Network. God damn. He sounds like fucking Nick Cruz trying to fucking beg white supremacists. Please stop being racist and be class reductionist. Holy fuck. The next question, who the hell was vetting this man? Was anyone? A bunch of fucking white supremacists from Maine. And if not, why not? Certainly the fact that he killed many brown people will not dissuade Democrats from supporting him. They still venerate Obama, who loved boasting about his kills and drone warfare. There are other troop candidates like Amy McGrath, and we know that Pete Buttigieg simply left his job as mayor for 7 whole months in order to acute credit as a veteran in Afghanistan, making sure to have people take several shots of him walking around with an M4 rifle. Killing is macho, the American way. Man. Well, okay, look, Pete Buttigieg had to do that though, because the war crimes negate being gay, and so whatever like kind of hesitancy of homophobia that settlers feel would be put at ease with knowing that sure he's gay, but he committed war crimes. And so then the settlers are like, oh, okay, cool. So he's white first, above all. He's a colonizer. And then they'll support him. All right? The more regressive ones. And yet, we have to wonder about everything else that was ignored. How does an ex-military man get through any kind of process with Democratic campaign directors and staff where he does not get asked, by the way, do you have any tattoos or internet presence we should know about? I mean, you are a millennial Marine. Ha 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 ha. The response to the affirmative should have been, oh shit, oh fuck. An actual totem cough? Okay, so we have to get rid of that thing. And second, we need a backstory in the case it ever gets leaked. What's that? You said, what about women and rape? Oh crap, okay, black people don't tip? Oh fuck. As it turns out, Plattner's first campaign manager has already stepped down and he has a new one, Kevin Brown, in place. The changes are already married in controversy. Cinnabon, if he had worn a red EFF beret, these same people wouldn't shut up about white genocide in South Africa. True. War crimes make a man manly, no matter his sexual orientation. The issue here is not that someone cannot be a military veteran and still run for office as a candidate who is resolutely against the US involvement in overseas wars or be an otherwise impeccable progressive candidate. Planner seems to be on many fronts. The whole point of understanding the deep harm caused by the US massive military machinery against the entire world is that it does not only cause death and destruction everywhere, but deeply damages those who join its forces. To have someone who effectively managed to escape the thrall of this global death machine and to have them stand on a platform against it can be incredibly powerful. But is Plattner quite the constructed veteran he presents himself to be? Reconstructed, excuse me. When he also laughs at being called a progressive or tells Politico, of course I'm not a socialist. Yeah. Total fucking bullshit. That's hilarious. Let me see. Sorry, I thought it was like an important message. It kind of is. This is how impactful and this is how great the Devil's Backbone was. I just got a message saying this is where somebody got stabbed. So it is medically accurate. The reaction was medically accurate. And this is watched this movie what, like 2 weeks ago, a week ago? Great fucking film. Again, appreciate whoever in the chat said that it was their favorite. That encouraged me to watch it. But he's such a fucking fraud. I'm not a communist. Of course I'm a capitalist. I run my own business, all this fucking bullshit. Asked specifically about his comments on LGBTQ people, Plattner said he no longer uses that language after developing friendships in DC with gay men. I mean, he's done that. I have a black friend about black people tipping. Now he's doing that. I have a gay friend. All right, cool. But many of his homophobic comments are from long after he left the city, all the way up to 2021. He also talks about becoming friends with trans people after moving back to Maine in 2016, and that really opened his eyes to what is unclear. This is why I showed that video of him like hugging that white trans individual. And I said it, whiteness over everything. Whoa, whiteness over everything. We saw how under Obama, the white gay community was, harassing a undocumented brown trans woman who was simply trying to get, humane conditions for the detainment of trans immigrants under Obama. Whiteness over everything, bro. As long as the queer white community is safe, they don't give a fuck that you wave the same flag as they do. Because their flag is white first and foremost. And they will always surrender to white supremacy. Because they benefit from it. But you don't have to be friends with members of a group to know that you're not supposed to use derogatory language about them, especially once you are past the age of, say 16, or no longer traveling around only with macho ex-military men. Racism, homophobia, and misogyny are not like expensive chocolate or cognac? Or cognac? Is that what the fuck? Like, I'm not a... Wow. Cognac. I always thought there would be an I in there. You enjoy in the privacy of your home, or when you think no one is looking, or in the company of your inner circle. You have to be resolutely against them all the time. And that is a difficult part when you're around these, other fucking meatheads. It does get difficult. You do want to be part of the boys club. You do want to be fucking, joking around like that. And you do seem like a party pooper. You do seem like a prude. You do seem like obnoxious. And you do seem like, damn, this fool can't take a joke. When you check motherfuckers for like stepping out of line and getting a little too proactive. But it's always funny when after a while, they'll catch themselves and look at you and be like, oh, hey, my bad, bro. I didn't mean it like that. And I'm like, uh-huh. And it's not a victory in any way, but it's kind of like at least creating a self-awareness. On Facebook, Fahim Hader, a Democratic Party organizer in the South and an artist, is blunt about all this. I agree that policy preference matter more than personal commitments or speech acts. That said, I'm not sure having a killer of brown people is the way to go. Plattner isn't a wobbly. He's not any different than any run-of-the-mill social democrat. His votes won't vary muchly from any other Dems. He's also not like the spearhead for the revolution or whatnot. I think his ascendancy makes it clear that there's space for social democrats to run for statewide office in the Northeast, and that's a beautiful thing. Beyond that, I think my dude should sit his ass down, and he won't. He went from colonizer to full-on white savior mode. He is not stepping down. Especially when you have disgusting white supremacist enablers like Crystal Ball saying that the Totenkopf tattoo made her a bigger fan, a more ride or die. Imagine using AAVE, ride or die, a ride or die, to talk about a white supremacist. Hader raises a critical point in all this that too many people might miss. The leftists and progressives tend to fall for the slightest sign of anything but the right and immediately set about crowning someone the new Lord and Savior. Fuck it. I was gonna say this, but y'all get a fucking sneak fucking peek. It's the holiday seasons. I'm not done with this. See if it doesn't flip. You get this. Oh, well, you can see it. The Great White Hope. And again, for all the film aficionados, those that study white supremacists, you should know where that image is from. I gotta add Hassan to that. Gotta add Bad Empanada to it. For his unwillingness to engage in Grant Plattner's anti-blackness out of fucking allegiance to white supremacy. So, from Mac, white queer people would excuse explicit resegregation of society if it meant they got to buy. Jeez. Woo. I love that we have a diverse community. I do, but sometimes I need to remind myself to read these in my head before saying them out loud. Yep, the first one. John, where you been at, homie? That's crazy. I was just talking about you, John. One of my coworkers does like short films and stuff like that, and he saw me using DaVinci. And shout out to John, and I'm blanking on the name right now. Somebody else that I've had conversations about programs and editing stuff that have just helped me so much. And I'm somebody who, I'm not Amish or anything, but definitely didn't really care for technology and stuff like that. And it really, really made it, it's very user friendly. So DaVinci was awesome to use. So John, thank you so much. Really, really appreciate that. But yeah, American History X. Edward Norton, I think one of the best fucking actors around. For me, he's the reason why I saw Birdman. Inuratu, appreciate his work, but Edward Norton really was the reason that pulled me into that. His range is up there with the fucking greats. Good for him for not, being willing to roll over for Marvel and be their Hulk, especially with the way that they did Hulk so fucking dirty in all these movies. Anywho, it's all trash anyways. Where are we at? Those of us on the left who might raise concerns about candidates are often shouted down and accused of exercising purity politics. That's a legitimate concern after the left has had a hard time discerning between compromise and surrender. But there is a difference between simply swatting down a candidate for some slight and perceived imperfection and wondering about what else might be ahead. Plattner's last campaign manager left on the grounds that his recently exposed posts make him vulnerable against an established politician like Susan Collins, but she is a campaign manager and her concern is with electability. We on the left have to think about what's people's actual interest. The fuzziness around the tattoo and the homophobic comments are not cause for concern because of what they might reveal about Plattner's politics, but because they might reveal the extent to which he genuinely does not think that attitude towards some groups really matters until they are found out. It's not just that. Yes, it's this. The real concern and the whole premise of my video is this is accurate. What supersedes this is not so much about Grant Plattner. It is about all these counterinsurgent propagandists that are willing to diminish all this. And what that normalization process does to the Overton window. And how that puts you and me, my brown ass, your brown ass, black ass, in fucking danger. That is what the whole thesis and the whole premise. I had to ask myself, why am I making this video? Why am I making this video? You have to document these fucking people. Yes, but for what purpose? Because in 5-10 years, Emma Vigeland, Sam Cedar, Sam Piker will be endorsing, supporting, and normalizing the fucking ICE agents that they're calling the Gestapo right fucking now. Because they needed the fucking Trump bonus. 5-10 years. They will fucking do that. And we'll still be on our fucking own. Because we're not human to them. Understand, to Emma Vigeland, to Sam Piker, Sam Cedar, the Vanguard, Kyle, KKK, Kalinsky, Crystal Ball, we are not human to them. We are sacrificial lambs. We're pawns in their fucking game. In their careerist goals, in their pursuit of democratic power. We are not people to them. We are not human beings to them. They cannot be our allies. They will lead us to the fucking slaughter every single time because we are their sacrificial lamb. Forgive me for dragging out this example, but I am reminded of Watergate. It wasn't the break-in that proved to be a problem, but the cover-up itself. I'm also reminded of John Fetterman, whom everyone lauded as the great hope for progressives until, well, he wasn't. I would like to add on the record that I never trusted Fetterman. Bragging, I like that. Because I simply automatically do not trust white adult men who walk around in cargo shorts. We're fucking race reductionists over here, brother. If I see too many pockets in those fucking shorts of yours, I know what you are. Shit. They're not wrong. My suspicion about Sam Bankman-Fried were always proven true. Who the fuck is Sam Bankman-Fried? Oh, wait, who the fuck trusted this one? That's hilarious. Yeah, fuck all these quirky fucking white men, bro. It's the fucking worst. And by the way, like Fetterman is like a hipster, right? Like Hassan Piker, like a hipster kind of thing, where it's kind of like, oh no, I understand what the working class is like, and then they're like grew up affluent as fuck. It is likely that Planner will turn out to be another Fetterman, given how explicitly he has stated his progressive principles. Maybe, maybe not. Here is a point that will doubtlessly anger many, but it needs to be made. I suspect that a lot of leftists supporting Plattner are also deeply enamored of his macho personality. Ryan Grimm for sure wishes he was the type of man Graham Plattner is. He's like, I can finally make my wife happy. The left has a masculinity problem, in that most of its men are not the conventionally heroic type, and it tends to swoon when it's seen as when it sees an ex-military dude with muscles and tattoos turn ex-Blackwater operative turn oyster farmer. My suspicion, and yes, this is an entirely unverifiable feeling, is that even the sight of his Nazi tattoo, yeah, you're not fucking wrong. Yes, it fucking turned him on. When you add that kind of weird romanticism that Zionists have for Nazis, Sam Cedar for sure was like intellectually aroused with the idea of supporting Graham Plattner. No question about it. My suspicion, and yes, this is an entirely unverifiable feeling, is that even the sight of the Nazi tattoo made more than a few tingle and return to the days when they cosplayed as paramilitary troops on Xbox. Is that an unfair to the many principled leftists who support Plattner? Is it though? This is a great fucking article. Jesus Christ, what the fuck? Okay, I thought we were done. Okay. We got 2 more paragraphs. I thought that was a great ending, but all right. But to return to Hyder's point, Plattner's ascendancy indicates more people. Okay. Yeah, indicates that people are not as suspicious of actual social democrats as we might like to. Am I rereading this? Hold on. No, we didn't read this, right? No, this is the ending. Cool. This came off a little repetitive. Planner's ascendancy indicates that people are not as suspicious of actual social democrats as we might like to think, that there is still a world where we can imagine many more like him instead of pinning all our hopes on someone who has, so far, been a hopelessly bad bullshitter about something as simple as a tattoo and some truly bad Reddit discourse. The thing is, Grand Planner could have fucking been a man. I'm going to be a machista for a second. He could have been a fucking man and been like, yes, I was misguided and I fell into glorifying war culture, and that included Nazi iconography. But he's not regretful. He's not ashamed of it. He's just upset he got caught. And nothing confirms that more than getting a literal Celtic dog whistle on his chest. And apparently not even covering up the entirety of the Totenkopf. Wild. Where are we at? A lot of the pushback against those of us raising our eyebrows about Plantner is about telling us to shut up because the logic goes, OMG, we will never see another like him. He is literally our Christ. I love this individual. The pushback is, and this is what I'm saying, always, always, always mock, belittle, be arrogant, out high horse these white rat libs because they think they're on the right side of history. They think they have the right to finger wag and educate us and teach us right from wrong. Fuck them. Turn that shit around on them. Laugh at them. Mock them. Y'all saw how I handled fucking Emma Vigeland, Sam Cedar, and his leftist attack dog, Matt Leck. I don't give a fuck about their audience and trying to change their audience's mind. I just want that shit on the record. Mock these motherfuckers. Always laugh at white people's faces. Always laugh at white people's faces, especially the liberals. Because, you know, in their mind, they're the fucking heroes of the story, and they're like, oh, we're the resistance against Donald Trump and fascism. Chinga that way. That pushback is symptomatic of everything that the left suffers from, a false and self-induced sense that we have a massive scarcity problem and that our ideas will never be enough to draw people to the left. This is demonstrably not true, given recent surges against liberalism and the many millions willing to not only march in liberal groups, but asking for better alternatives. Many risking their very lives to protect strangers they will never know. Hell, police witness Zohran Mamdani. Wait, what? Oh, she's a Mamdani stan? What the fuck? No. Yikes. She fell for the brown. No one is perfect. Your politicians will always disappoint you, but how politicians address and work through their imperfections says a lot about them. It is baffling that Planner and his team never anticipated those controversies, and that many indicate either a deep arrogance, ding ding ding, he's a white man, he's a war hero. Or profound stupidity. Or some combination of both. Isn't it always with white men? All of them could have been addressed early on with a strong biographical statement that actually connected any possible past internet comments to the long path he has taken to turning his back on such terrible politics. Planner will be fine. He's a forerunner in the Democratic primary, and that is still only in June 2026. Recent polls indicate that the controversies have not dulled his appeal. People care more about dog killing than homophobic language, so unless there is a video of him somewhere shooting puppies in Fallujah, his path to facing off against Susan Collins, the 72-year-old Republican, Barnacle, and sitting senator looks clear. Even if he does not win, he will continue to be a star amongst the leftists who will continue to shush the rest of us for daring to bring up any potential problem with him. I enjoyed it. I just... The people supporting him are all fucking white for a fucking reason. This is a solid article. Solid fucking article. All right. We have like 10 minutes on the stream. Do me a favor, y'all. Hit the like if you can. We're gonna read one more article, I think. Let's see. I'm gonna change the title of this of the stream. Fuck no, I'm sorry, y'all. I don't have time. My apologies. My apologies. We'll read this on Friday. Prince Capone loves to fucking yap. Not this seems like a lot of fun. I'm gonna change the thumbnail. I'm gonna change the title. I appreciate y'all. I do gotta wrap up. It's not because it's the holiday season, but because there's a lot of moving parts going on recently. So we won't stream tomorrow just to avoid the parasocial being here for Christmas stuff. I appreciate y'all. I hope you're able to spend time with your family, even if you don't celebrate. Just take the opportunity that you don't have to work if you're lucky enough not to be around your loved ones, those that you care about. I appreciate all the help, all the support. Sincerely, this year has been the support has just opened endless possibilities for all of you supporting the Patreon. Believe me, I can't begin to express how much that financial support has helped. To some people, it might not be much, but to me, like living paycheck to paycheck, it has changed so much. So thank you for that. I really appreciate y'all. It means a lot. We're gonna get that Grand Planner video out. We're gonna work on it. In fact, that's what I'll work on all day tomorrow. With that, please remember what Glenn Ford said: organize with eyes wide open. And as we're starting to end this with none other than John Trudell, the Beast. In a wisp of smoke down on the corner, there was this cat named Fortunate Lee, talking at me from voices in his head, yelling about what storyteller said. You got to be careful here, child. There's a beast in the promised land. There's madness you don't understand. The beast is crazed and running wild. Little boy, man, little girl, woman, no big deal. Nothing personal. Your mind's another meal. Savoring the rush of you like heady wine. Feeding is what the beast is meant to do. Strange are those walls built to hide. Stranger, to look and learn not to see. He's in the mask you put on your face. Thoughts, his favorite breeding place. In the race to midnight, it's after 11. The nature of the beast is all he knows. Behind the doors of hell are gates of heaven. The doors are open, but the gates are closed. Yes, tú.
I'm afraid of like talking to people who are outside of my race